Chapter 3901. Hearing Zichen's words, everyone's expression changed. Their gazes became strange. Fang Wulian had said that regardless of the outcome, the team leader would get a magic spirit robe. But Zichen had said 5 robes. If the price was doubled, it would be 10 robes. How dare he say such an exorbitant price? You believe Fang Wulian's words? Fang Wuling laughed sarcastically. Even if he is willing to give it, he has to have it. 1 magic spirit robe is already the limit of what he can afford. It also depends on my mood. I'll give you 3 magic spirit robes. Come with me. When the others heard this, their eyes almost popped out. Wasn't this business too shrewd? She had tripled the price just by raising it. Zichen smiled and shook his head. 3 robes isn't enough for everyone. Forget it. He actually rejected it. Everyone felt their minds were in a mess. Did they meet an idiot? Fang Wuling extended her hand and said, 5 robes then. I'll give you 5 magic spirit robes. Come with me this time. Zichen still shook his head and did not agree. Fang Wuling glanced at Fang Wulian, who was smiling in an attempt to curry favor, and immediately said with a straight face, Zichen, how can you be so unappreciative? Wuling has invited you. This is a great honor for you, why don't you accept? Fang Wuling waved her hand and said, forget it. The person you find is probably the same as you. He's not presentable. I dare to give him 5 magic spirit robes. Does he have the guts to take them? With that, Fang Wuling turned and left. Fang Wulian followed behind her and sent her to the door. Only then did everyone come back to their senses. So she was just toying with him. But seeing him in person was better than hearing about him. This time, they met Fang Wuling and naturally knew Fang Wulian's true status in the Fang family. If not for sucking up to his brother and sister, how could he be so famous? Now, they even began to doubt if Fang Wulian could take out a magic spirit robe. Fang Wulian walked back without a trace of displeasure on his face. It was as if he was already used to this kind of thing and didn't feel that losing face in front of others was a shameful thing. He looked at them and said, do you still want to challenge me? They looked at each other in dismay. After what had happened, they had to think carefully for their own sake. After a slight hesitation, everyone shook their heads, indicating that they would not challenge him. Moreover, there were a few people who directly bid farewell and left. Zichen sat at the side in silence, but he kept an eye on everyone. When people left, there would naturally be people who stayed. No matter where one was, there would never be a lack of smart people. Zichen didn't stay for too long, nor did he have a heart-to-heart talk with Fang Wulian. Through today's conversation, he had a very pessimistic attitude towards the following journey. Fang Wulian did not continue to urge Zichen to stay. After Fang Wuling's incident, the party that he had spent a lot of blue crystal coins to hold was completely ruined. To put it simply, he had suffered a double loss after trying to persuade Zichen. After returning to his residence, Zichen went to find Old Tang and told him what happened today. Are you sure that the Fang family opened the Bamboo Sea World? Old Tang was obviously very surprised because everyone knew that the Bamboo Sea World was the biggest secret of the Fang family. How could such a secret be opened to the public? Moreover, there seemed to be no limit to the number of people who could enter. Zichen nodded. He believed that Fang Wulian wouldn't joke about this kind of thing. No matter what the final result is, there will be a magic spirit robe as the reward. This is a big deal. Either he is deliberately trying to befriend you, or he is plotting something. Old Tang said. I think so too. Fang Wuling was willing to give me 5 magic spirit robes. Although it was a big joke, it could also mean that even if he promised to give you these things, it depends on whether you are alive to receive them. Zichen also said. Old Tang looked at Zichen. What are you worried about? That there are dangers inside. Zichen shook his head and said, this is only one part of it, but not all. I am worried that I won't be able to return alive. Since it was the place where the Fang family started, there would naturally be many secrets inside. There might even be opportunities. Even if there were benefits inside, how could he guarantee that he would be able to return alive? This was what Zichen was most worried about. Old Tang pondered for a moment and said, this is not easy to decide. We need more information. Zichen said, thank you. Old Tang asked again, what if I ask you to give up? Zichen hesitated for a moment and said, this is a promise that I cannot refuse. However, if it really involves my life, I will refuse. Obviously, Zichen was not an inflexible person. He was still flexible when it came to things. Just as Old Tang was gathering information and Zichen was hesitating, the other direct descendants of the Fang clan began to recruit troops and buy horses. As expected, the news of the Bamboo Sea world being opened to the outside world was leaked. For a moment, it caused a huge commotion in Fanglin City. Many forces were beginning to get restless. However, there were too many people who signed up, so the direct descendants of the Fang family had to limit the number of people they could bring. 100. Each person could only bring 100 human soul realm experts, and the human soul realm was the highest level allowed in the Bamboo Sea world. Of course, they could also bring soul emptiness and soul realm experts, but no one would do that. In the past few days, the city had become very crazy. Even the entire Fang family had become crazy. Those who were not qualified to become direct descendants were all thinking of ways to become direct descendants. They were not fighting for the position of successor, but for the great opportunities in the Bamboo Sea world. Obviously, even the Fang family had become unstable. The entire Fanglin city seemed to have become crazy, and Zichen became more and more uneasy. He called the three of them together and said directly, this time, the three of you will stay in Fanglin city and wait for me to return. Why? This opportunity is very rare. Xiao asked doubtfully. Lan Jiu Meng and Shan Ye did not have any doubts. Zichen's intentions were all for their own good, and this time would be no exception. I'm very uneasy. I keep feeling that things are not so simple. Zichen said. Xiao said, the Fang family opening the Bamboo Sea world is already unusual, but there are too many forces going in this time. Even if the Fang family has evil intentions, they wouldn't dare to attack all the forces, right? They don't have the guts and strength to do so. Zichen shook his head and said, I still insist on my thoughts. Perhaps in the end, I will stay. This made Xiao even more surprised. When others saw an opportunity, they would crazily fight for it, but Zichen actually made people avoid it. Just as the situation was in a deadlock, a secret letter was sent to the inn. It was personally opened by Xiao. Only Xiao could open it. After reading the contents of the secret letter, Xiao's expression could not help but change. Then, when she looked at Zichen, there was a strange look in her eyes. What's wrong? Zichen looked at Xiao and said, is it that your family also doesn't agree to this? Take a look for yourself. Xiao handed over the secret letter. Zichen poured his soul power into it and saw a soul remembrance left behind. Chapter 3902. Hearing that old voice, Zichen was stunned and couldn't believe his ears. He looked at Shizhou and asked, do you know who he is? Shizhou nodded, of course I do. Zichen asked again, then did he say something wrong and tell you not to go to the Bamboo Sea world? Shizhou didn't answer and asked back, what do you think? Zichen was speechless. Other people would avoid danger as much as they could, but this family was different. They were rushing to deliver themselves to their doorstep. Shizhou continued, you don't have any objections now, right? Zichen nodded helplessly. The other party's words not only decided Shizhou's direction, but also his. Now he couldn't refuse even if he wanted to. At this time, Old Tang's voice sounded in Zichen's mind, as long as you can come out, no one can hurt you. The silent Zichen nodded and felt more confident. Then he looked at Lan Jiu Meng and Shan Ye, in that case, the four of us will go together. The two naturally didn't have any objections. Fanglin City, Fang Wulian had his own courtyard in the Fang family's huge courtyard. The soul power here was extremely abundant. Although it couldn't be ranked in the top 5 in the entire Fang family, it was still in the top 20. It was enough to see his status in the Fang family. However, this was only on the surface. The truth was that over the years, his courtyard had been coveted by one direct descendant after another. He had already changed 3 times. Shan Kuei came to the door and knocked. Come in. In the room, Fang Wulian raised his eyelids and said indifferently. Shan Kuei pushed the door open and entered, then carefully closed the door. Fang Wulian leaned his chin on the table and was in a daze. Young master, something seems wrong. Shan Kuei said cautiously. What? Fang Wulian said weakly. The others seem to have gone crazy these days, constantly recruiting people. The original few successors have increased by half this time. There must be something wrong. Shan Kuei said in a deep voice, how can the family allow so many outsiders to enter the Bamboo Sea world? You have to know, that is a place that young master has never been. If you can see that something is wrong, then even a fool can see it. Fang Wulian was still weak. I don't know what exactly happened. With my connections in the family, no one will tell me. Shan Kuei said, the first young master and the third young lady must know. Fang Wulian said, so what? Do you want me to play the fool in front of them again? And then be humiliated in public? Thinking of the countless scenes that had happened before, Shan Kuei did not say anything more. How's Zi Chen doing? Did you come into contact with anyone else? Fang Wulian suddenly asked. Shan Kuei shook his head and said, no, he has been staying in the inn and rarely goes out. I haven't found him contacting anyone. Fang Wulian said in bewilderment, that shouldn't be the case. Others are ignorant and don't know how strong Zi Chen is, but Fang Wuling knows very well. Just one Zi Chen is enough to turn the sacred mountain into a mess. There are even rumors that the change of the two mountain masters is related to him. How could she not get in touch with such an important person? How could she not try to recruit him? Shan Kuei scratched his head and said, maybe she's already recruited enough experts and they haven't seen Zi Chen's true strength. That's why she ignored him. Fang Wulian sat up and said, impossible. Then she thinks that if word gets out that she stole the young master's woman, people will laugh at her. Shan Kuei asked again. Fang Wulian's lips suddenly curved into a mocking smile. That's even more impossible. Others don't understand that bitch, but I do. Face is nothing in her eyes. If someone wants to help her and wants her body, she will offer it without hesitation. Shan Kuei tactfully did not reply. At the same time, he carefully looked around the room. After seeing the talisman papers that were still glowing, he relaxed. The walls might have ears. Fang Wulian pondered for a moment, then slapped the table and said, this matter is indeed strange. Go and tell Zi Chen that this trip might be extremely dangerous and that he should be careful. We're warning him out of kindness. What if Zi Chen takes the opportunity to increase the price? Shan Kuei was somewhat worried. Tell him to wait until we enter the Bamboo Sea world. Yes. Asterisk 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 outside Fanglin City, two figures flew across the sky. One was wearing a Taoist robe. He was obviously a Taoist with white hair and a youthful face. The other was wearing a black robe and was very old. The Taoist looked at the city below and said, we're already here. Don't you want to see your granddaughter? The old man in the black robe said, no, let her be. After flying past Fanglin City, the Taoist said, Old Chen, tell me the truth. Can Shijiao really be safe this time? Let me tell you, I can give up the great foundation of the Sai family, but I can't let Shijiao be in danger. The Taoist-robed old Chen said, don't worry. The old man in the black robe said, don't worry. You always tell me not to worry, but how can I not worry? Last time, when we went to the Holy Mountain, it was you who showed us the way, but what happened? Even under our eyes, we almost let the rascals get away with it. The Taoist said, you're talking about the result that didn't happen. The real result was that she was safe and even entered the 4th level of the Holy Mountain and obtained a technique. Although that's the case, the Bamboo Sea world of the Fang family is too mysterious. Even you and I don't dare to go there, let alone them. Moreover, the Fang family is so generous this time. There must be a trap. Hearing the worry in the old man's words, the Taoist stopped teasing him and said seriously, with the Sai family's change, Shijiao is not safe anywhere in the Bamboo Sea world. Although I can't see it clearly and don't dare to say much, I can tell you that Shijiao's trip this time will be with the help of the heavens. The heavens are helping. You're talking about Zi Chen. I admit that he's stronger than ordinary people, But you're comparing a descender to the heavens. Isn't that a bit ridiculous? The Taoist said, the heavens are mysterious and unfathomable. How can you and I see through it? Since we've already made this choice, we can only wait and see. After sending Shan Kuei away, Zichen fell into deep thought again. Even Fang Wulian didn't know what was going on, so what was the Fang family doing this time? On the second day, people came to visit one after another. They were all people from the Fang family, and they were all people who had obtained a direct descendant quota. However, Zichen didn't see any of them because it was meaningless. During this time, Fang Wulian didn't send anyone else. On the fifth day, Shan Kuei came again. After saying a few words of praise, he also told Zichen that everyone would enter the Bamboo Sea world in 3 days and told him to be prepared. At the same time, Shan Kuei also formally asked Zichen how many people there were. The answer was naturally 4. Shan Kuei patted his chest and told him that the quota wasn't a problem. Chapter 3903. It was already the appointed time. All the people in the city who were qualified to participate in this event had left their residences and were heading towards the Fang clan. Since they were heading towards the Fang clan's Bamboo Sea world, the entrance was naturally within the Fang clan. However, everyone was stopped outside the Fang clan's main gate. Everyone was gathered in a temporarily built square, and it was crowded with people. Noises constantly rang out, and all kinds of people were calling out to their friends. It was as if they had arrived at a lively market. Zichen, over here. Zichen heard Shan Kuei's voice. The other party was standing at a high point, and he kept waving at Zichen. He seemed to be a little excited. Zichen and the other 3 walked towards Shan Kuei. This time, Old Tang did not follow them. Along the way, many people looked at them, but most of them were looking at the 3 girls with outstanding temperaments. Zichen, who was extremely famous in the Sagely Mountain City, did not stand out here. After the last gathering, Zichen saw Fang Wulian again. The seat that Fang Wulian occupied was definitely the best one. In the entire Fang clan, there was almost no direct descendant who liked Fang Wulian. However, to outsiders, everyone had to give some face to this second-generation ancestor. After all, his brother and sister were extraordinary existences in the Fang clan. Even if the 2 sides did not get along, they still had to give some face. However, compared to the advantageous positions, the people that Fang Wulian had recruited this time were not very good. Although all of them were at the human soul stage, from the aura that flowed around them, most of them were existences that were not worth mentioning. Even if a large group of people at this level came, they could not threaten Zichen. After Fang Wulian saw Zichen, a sincere smile immediately appeared on his face. He quickly walked forward and put his arm around Zichen's shoulder in a familiar manner. "My captain, great leader, you're finally here." Zichen smiled and allowed the other party to put his arm around his shoulder. He did not care about giving others the impression that the 2 of them had a very good relationship. However, Xiao, who was behind him, snorted and did not give Fang Wulian a good look. "Little girl, you're here too?" Fang Wulian naturally didn't forget to tease Shijiao. However, he knew that she had a big Missy's temper, so he knew when to stop. Fang Wulian and Zichen went to a high place. Zichen pointed to the crowd below and said, "These are my men. What do you think? They're all elites, right?" Zichen's gaze swept across the crowd. During this time, many pairs of eyes met with him. They did not give in at all, and there was obvious provocation in their eyes. It was as if these people were really elites and did not want to submit to Zichen, their leader. Zichen said expressionlessly, "Yes, all of them are elites. It's not easy to find so many elites at once." Zichen's tone was so calm that Fang Wulian couldn't tell if he was being sincere or just mocking him. He laughed and said, "If that's the case, then I'll have to trouble you, as the captain, to lead them well and strive for great gains for everyone." The smile on his face faded. Fang Wulian looked at the crowd and said, "Everyone, this is the Zichen I mentioned to you before. From now on, Zichen will be your captain. When you enter the Bamboo Sea world, all of your actions will be under his command." The provocative gazes did not disappear. There were even people who were eager to challenge Zichen on the spot. The reward for being the captain was too generous. No one was willing to give it up. After we enter, if anyone dares to disobey Zichen's orders, then don't blame me for being rude. Fang Wulian's voice suddenly turned cold. Those provocative gazes also retracted a little. Zichen looked into the distance. The teams separated from each other. He estimated that there were about 30 teams. Each team had 200 people. There were nearly 30 teams. The number of people added up this time was comparable to the number of people in the Sacred Mountains assessment. After all, there were still many Soul Realm experts in the Sacred Mountains assessment at that time. Among these teams, the strong and the weak could be clearly distinguished. For example, the two teams beside Zichen. Everyone stood upright and silent, like well-trained soldiers. Moreover, the auras surging around them were also very strong. One look and one could tell that they were elites. Fang Wulian's team was clearly a loose soldier, and the kind that couldn't be shown in public. Where's the entrance? The surroundings were still unable to quiet down because of the problem of people. Zichen took the opportunity to ask Fang Wulian. Fang Wulian shook his head and said, "To be honest, I'm not sure either. I was actually quite surprised to open the Bamboo Sea world this time. What I know is not much different from what you know." Zichen looked at Fang Wulian, clearly not believing him. Fang Wulian lowered his voice and said, "I have no need to lie to you. I only have this one chance left. I have to seize it. You are my only hope. Of course I will tell you everything I know." This kind of noisy situation lasted for a full hour before it ended. A tyrannical aura belonging to the Earth Soul realm suddenly appeared in the sky. This caused everyone's gaze to subconsciously look towards the sky. The scene gradually quieted down. It's rare for everyone to be able to participate in my Fang clan's prosperity this time. I hope that everyone will be able to gain quite a bit after entering the Bamboo Sea world. The Earth Soul realm used this as an opening speech. After everyone's attention was attracted, he continued, "However, the Bamboo Sea world is extremely dangerous. Over the years, many of our Fang clan's heroes have lost their lives. Therefore, I would like to advise everyone not to be greedy after entering. Quit while you're ahead." The Earth Soul realm extended two fingers and said, "This time, entering the world is mainly divided into two stages. The first stage is very dangerous. Everyone will be able to gain some benefits and accumulate some points, which can be exchanged for some resources that you need. If anyone is willing to quit, then you can leave with your gains without any responsibility. As for the second stage, you will need to assist my Fang clan in completing the mission. Once you succeed, you will be able to obtain generous rewards. Of course, the danger will also be greater. This is because it is an unknown place, a place that we have never explored before." The surroundings were completely silent. Everyone was listening to the Earth Soul realm. He continued, "I guarantee on the Fang clan's reputation that this trip to the Bamboo Sea world will only be open to human Soul realm cultivators. It will be absolutely fair." Cheers could be heard in the quiet square. "Alright, let's not waste any more time. This time, we have spent quite a bit of resources to open up a temporary passage. You can enter in groups." A simple and unadorned jade token appeared in this Earth Soul realm expert's hand. He lightly shook his hand and the jade token fell to the ground, turning into a wide and large door. The door could allow a dozen people to pass through at once. Chapter 3904. Just as the passage opened, outside the square, several figures flew into the air. They were not in a hurry to enter the Bamboo Sea world, but they were from the Fang clan to prevent others from taking advantage of this loophole. This was because everyone who entered this time had to go through a strict and detailed registration process to prevent anyone from taking advantage of the situation. The first team moved. It was the leftmost team, but Zichen did not see their leader, or rather, he did not know who they worked for. "It's my big brother, Fang Wudao's people." Fang Wulian explained, "He's the first, Fang Wuling is the second, and we're the third to enter. How is it? My position in the clan is good, right?" Zichen did not reply, but asked, "Where are they?" "They've already gone in to scout ahead." Fang Wulian said lightly, "After all, This trip to the Bamboo Sea world is the most important to them. We're just going there to try our luck and see the world. Zichen understood Fang Wulian's concern, but he did not point it out. Seeing the two teams enter the passage, Fang Wulian immediately shouted excitedly, "It's our turn. Everyone, follow me." The people under him started to move. Fang Wulian walked in front, waving his hands back and forth, looking very proud. Shan Kuei followed closely behind. Zichen's position was slightly behind, and Lan Jiu Meng and the other two had already caught up. Then, it was the people following Fang Wulian. In the sky, there were several powerful existences staring coldly at the entrance. On one hand, they were guarding against unruly people. At the same time, after a team had all entered, there would be a person in charge of forming seals. During this time, a ray of light would fall into the entrance. There were many people outside who wanted to join in the fun. When they saw that the Fang clan had actually made a temporary entrance, many of them revealed regretful expressions. The Fang clan's actions completely destroyed the hopes of those who wanted to know where the entrance to the Bamboo Sea world was. The teams entered one after another in an orderly manner. As the third person to enter, Zichen naturally had the advantage of time. When they appeared, Zichen first saw a cliff. The cliff was filled with smoke, and the bottom could not be seen. At this moment, Zichen and his team were right next to the cliff. Zichen turned around. Behind him was a field of green grass that extended into the distance. At the end of his line of sight was a bamboo forest. "This is the Bamboo Sea world?" Zichen asked. "That's right, it's here." Fang Wulian pointed ahead and said, "If I'm not wrong, the opportunity that everyone wants is in that bamboo forest. What's under the cliff behind us?" Zichen asked again. Fang Wulian pondered for a moment before saying, "It's the end." "The end?" Zichen was slightly stunned. Fang Wulian nodded, "The end of the Bamboo Sea world, but it can also be said to be the beginning." Of course, Zichen understood this explanation. He didn't ask any more questions. Instead, he walked forward at a slow pace. Many people overtook Zichen, but considering what Fang Wulian had said previously, they deliberately slowed down. However, when they looked back at Zichen from time to time, their eyes would be filled with emotions. The opportunity is right ahead. How do you plan on arranging them? Fang Wulian asked. Zichen revealed an inexplicable smile. He waved his hand and said, "You're free to move about." The human soul realm cultivators walking in front were stunned when they heard that. They looked at Zichen in disbelief. Even Fang Wulian was slightly taken aback. Shan Kuei wanted to ask Zichen if he had said something wrong. As the leader, "Are you sure you don't command everyone to act in unison?" Zichen said again, "You're free to move about. Go and find your opportunity." Zichen repeated himself before everyone dispersed. However, many people sneered at Zichen as they left. Clearly, they concluded that it was because Zichen didn't have the guts to command them. Looking at the departing crowd, Fang Wulian asked in puzzlement, "Why? No matter how strong you are, you can't compare to a team, right?" Zichen said, "Didn't your family clan say that there are opportunities in the first stage? The danger is relatively low. Let them try their luck." "That makes sense." Fang Wulian nodded with a smile. Zichen continued walking unhurriedly as he looked ahead. At that moment, some of the faster ones had already entered the bamboo forest, but soon, light appeared in the bamboo forest. Following that, there were energy fluctuations from a battle. They must have encountered a bamboo monster, a mutated plant. It's a little difficult to deal with, but once it's killed, its main body can be used to refine weapons. It can be considered one of the opportunities here. Fang Wulian, who was walking beside Zichen, explained. At that moment, only the 6 of them were still walking unhurriedly in the grassland. The others had entered the bamboo forest. The fluctuations from the battle kept spreading. From the looks of it, there were quite a number of bamboo monsters inside. "Why don't you tell me what else is here?" Zichen said indifferently. Fang Wulian looked around and said expressionlessly, "I don't know. I really don't know." Zichen didn't ask any more questions. However, Xiao'er said unhappily, "Who would believe you? You don't know?" Who are you trying to fool? I say, little grandaunt, I really don't know. This is my Lan family's secret. This is my first time here. How could I know? Fang Wulian said with a sad face. Lan Jiumeng and Shan Ya both looked at Fang Wulian with strange expressions. His reaction was a little unreasonable. It didn't match his usual playboy personality. Zichen raised his hand and said with a smile, "It's better that you don't know. This is because it's more challenging. Who knows, we might be able to get an unexpected reward here." After saying that, Zichen increased his speed. Like an arrow leaving the bow, he headed straight for the bamboo forest. He understood Fang Wulian's meaning, so he didn't want to appear too happy. As more and more teams entered the Bamboo Sea world, the spectators outside saw images appear in the sky above the square. The images showed everyone who had just entered the Bamboo Sea world. Just like the Sacred Mountains test, everyone's various performances were shown on the images. Outside the square, there were cries of surprise. Many people's faces were filled with amazement. The person who spoke earlier said with a smile, "After many years of exploration, we can only monitor a part of the Bamboo Sea's periphery. We've made a fool of ourselves." Although he said it was a fool, the pride on this Earth Soul's face couldn't be concealed. This was the first time the Bamboo Sea world appeared before the eyes of the world. After seeing the Bamboo Sea world's appearance, many of the spectators became excited. During this period, many people began to use secret techniques to try to contact the people who had entered. Clearly, they wanted to find the coordinates of the Bamboo Sea world. Chapter 3905. As they entered the bamboo forest, the surrounding bamboos emitted faint soul power fluctuations. It was obvious that they were extremely good items. Even the outermost emerald bamboos can be refined into weapons. It's just that the grade is slightly lower. People like you and I naturally wouldn't be interested in them, but for those of lower cultivation, they are truly good items. After entering the bamboo forest, Fang Wulian took the initiative to introduce them to Zichen. Zichen extended his hand and lightly tapped the bamboo with his finger. The bamboo began to vibrate irregularly, emitting a buzzing sound. He nodded his head and said, "It's indeed not bad." Fang Wulian felt his eyelids tremble a little. This was because at the place where Zichen's finger tapped, small cracks had clearly appeared on the bamboo. It was only a light tap, but it actually had such power. If he used a little more force, wouldn't it directly break? Just how strong was his physical body? At this moment, a ray of light appeared in front of them. A strange creature about 3 meters tall appeared. Its entire body was dark green. It had hands and feet, but they were all made of bamboo. Its head was an irregular square shape. It was a bamboo monster that was naturally born here. As soon as it appeared, it began to attack the group. It had no intelligence and no method of attack. A sharp whistle suddenly sounded. A blue light flew out in front of Lan Jiumeng. Before the bamboo monster's attack arrived, it directly pierced through its body. In the next moment, the bamboo monster's body collapsed, and a green bamboo joint fell to the ground. Bamboo monsters, also known as bamboo monsters, have 9 grades. This type of monster is considered the weakest type. Seeing the bamboo joint on the ground, Fang Wulian continued, "However, its degree of hardness is several grades higher than these emerald bamboos. Right now, even if it's the lowest grade, it can still be considered an opportunity here." Lan Jiumeng walked forward and bent down to pick up the bamboo joint. At this moment, a brilliant light circulated in front of her. A jade tablet that seemed to be carved from emerald bamboos appeared. At this moment, the number 1 appeared on the jade tablet. Fang Wulian continued, "These are points. When you reach the depths, you can use them to exchange for resources." Lan Jiumeng took the jade tablet, turned around, and handed the bamboo in her hand to Zichen. Zichen took it and looked at it a few times, then tried to pinch it. Indeed, the quality was much better than the bamboo around them. These things might be useless to him, but they were extremely important to the development of a power. And this was only the periphery of the Bamboo Sea world. If there was such a fortuitous encounter, then what would there be in the depths? No wonder the Fang clan had a foundation comparable to the Sacred Mountain. They continued to move forward, and the bamboo monsters appeared one by one. Shijio and Shan Ya made their moves one after another. When they obtained the bamboo knots, they also obtained the corresponding jade bamboo tokens. However, each person could only obtain one jade token. Zichen still didn't make a move, and neither did Fang Wulian. All the bamboo monsters in front of him that tried to attack him were all killed by Shan Kuei. Zichen looked up at the sky. It was blue without any clouds, so he couldn't see anything out of the ordinary. However, since Fang Wulian couldn't say anything, it was clear that there was something wrong with this place. Zichen felt quite confused. Why did the Fang clan want to open up this bamboo sea world? Weren't they worried that other powers would be jealous and attack the Fang clan? The bamboo ahead swayed as a powerful aura swept out, and an even larger bamboo monster appeared. This is a two-jointed monster. Fang Wulian's voice sounded out, as if he was the most suitable explanation. The underworld ghost, who had been resting on Zichen's shoulder, suddenly flew forwards. Its body was extremely small, but it was incredibly strong. Its small claws slammed into the bamboo monster's head, and following a loud explosion, the two-jointed monster's body was shattered, leaving behind a two-jointed bamboo stick. The underworld ghost picked it up and brought back a jade token with the number 2 on it. Zichen took it, while the underworld ghost turned and entered the depths of the bamboo sea world. Evidently, it felt that this was quite interesting. There were continuous explosions in front of them. The underworld ghost must be fighting with the bamboo monsters. When the underworld ghost picked up the bamboo stick, the number on the jade token would also increase. The deeper they went, the stronger the bamboo monsters they would encounter. Monsters with 3 legs, 4 legs, and 5 legs. As their ranks increased, the quality of the bamboo sticks they would encounter would also increase. So far, Zichen had yet to make a move. The underworld ghost was the one fighting because it liked to fight and would take the initiative to attack. Therefore, among the group, Zichen had contributed the most, more than 100 points. Your pet is nice. How about selling it to me? I'll give you a set of armor. Fang Wulian was very interested as he watched the underworld ghost fight. The one that I blew up last time? Zichen asked casually. Fang Wulian smiled and didn't mention it again. There's a chance but no danger. Fang Wulian, the Fang family is really generous this time. Shijio put away her soul weapon and darted a look at Fang Wulian. Young lady, you're right. Fang Wulian said proudly, the Fang family doesn't have much, but we have a lot of money and resources. Let's not talk about other things first. Just the bamboo sticks you've obtained this time will sell for a good price when you bring them back. He patted his chest and said, this is called a foundation, the foundation of the Fang family. At this moment, many people who were watching the battle were envious. Because of their previous concerns, many people thought that there must be a trap this time. Who would have thought that it would turn out like this? None of the human soul realm warriors who entered had their lives threatened. Their harvest had already reached a point where even human soul realm warriors would be envious. Many people were annoyed. If they had entered in the beginning, they would have also obtained such a huge harvest. There was almost no danger along the way. It was only when they encountered the 7 legs that they became slightly more troublesome. However, when they worked together, they were able to kill the 7 legs quickly and reap the rewards. Under the watchful eyes of countless people, the Fang family was doing a good deed this time. The human soul realm warriors who entered had obtained so many benefits that it made people envious. Finally, the 9-segment bamboo left behind by the 9-segment monster was even more dazzling. Even if one did not deliberately forge it, it was already a soul weapon by itself. Where should one go to find such a place of opportunity? Not only that, but when they were moving forward, they could also obtain some additional contribution points. These contribution points could also be exchanged for various resources. Finally, they reached the end of the bamboo forest. The first part of the opportunity was the bamboo sticks. They could sell them or leave them for the family to use. They were all excellent things. The second part of the opportunity was to exchange for the contribution points they obtained along the way. Chapter 3906. The place where they could exchange for contribution points was at the end of the bamboo forest, right in front of everyone. There were huge green bamboos that were comparable to ancient trees, and in front of each green bamboo, there was a green bamboo spirit that floated and danced around the green bamboo. The opportunity to exchange for contribution points was right in front of them, but no one immediately went over. After arriving at the end of the bamboo forest, almost everyone looked up at the sky. There were two people standing in the air, a man and a woman. More than 90% of the human soul experts who had come here knew the two of them. Even those who did not know them quickly guessed their identities from the changes in the expressions of the surrounding people. They were Fang Wudao and Fang Wuling, who had come in early. Fang Wudao was wearing the magic robe unique to the Fang family, and it shone brightly. He, who was already extraordinarily handsome, stood with his hands behind his back as he looked at the people who had walked to the end. Fang Wuling stood beside him, her spirit robe fluttering in the wind. Her beautiful face was exceptionally eye-catching. Almost subconsciously, all the human soul experts who came here stopped and looked at the sky in silence. The two of them must have a reason for doing this. Perhaps they had something to say. Sure enough, after a while, Fang Wudao moved. He first cupped his fists at everyone, and then said, "Everyone, if you're just here to join in the fun, then you can leave. The following journey will be extremely dangerous, and you may even lose your life." He pointed at the other end of the sky, and a ray of light shot out from his fingertip. The space there began to distort, and a door of light that was much smaller than when they entered appeared. This is the passage to leave. After exchanging for your contribution points, you can leave if you want to leave. Fang Wudao said again, "I repeat, the depths are extremely dangerous. If you're not prepared, then please leave." The surroundings were silent, and no one spoke. Before coming here, the Fang clan's Earth Soul Realm expert had reminded them that if they left now, they wouldn't have to bear any consequences and could take away all the things they had obtained. It was time for everyone to make a choice. Shizhou looked at the sky, and then at Zichen, with obvious doubt and inquiry in her eyes. Was the Fang family really that good? One had to know that they had gained a lot this time, and their gains were almost enough to make a family rise. This was their gain, but the Fang family's loss. Zichen shook his head, indicating that he did not know. "May I ask young Master Fang, other than the dangers in the depths, are there also opportunities?" At this moment, a voice sounded from the crowd. Fang Wudao replied, "Of course there will be opportunities, even more than what you have encountered before. But I still stand by what I said before. Compared to opportunities, the danger is actually greater. I don't recommend that you all follow in. For those who are weaker, retreating now is actually the right choice. Do you intend to force us to leave?" Another voice came from another direction. Fang Wudao smiled and said, "Of course not. It's up to you whether to advance or retreat. I'm just here to remind everyone out of goodwill. Once you enter the depths, life and death are up to fate." Fang Wudao no longer tried to persuade them. Instead, he looked at his own team and said, "Quickly exchange for some items and follow me deeper." "Yes." A loud and clear voice came from below. Then, those people began to move. Fang Wudao did not suppress his voice, so everyone heard it clearly. Even the people in the outside world heard it through the square. The word items was particularly attractive. Many people were curious as to what kind of items it was. Everyone began to exchange, but there were too many people here. There were only so many exchange points, so they had to line up. Zichen and the others were the latest to arrive, so they were naturally at the back of the line. He did not use his authority as the leader to compete with the others. Instead, he slowly waited. Fang Wudao and Fang Wuling had already landed. They began to instruct their own people to exchange in an orderly manner. During this time, the two of them used some kind of secret technique, and the number of little fairies on their side clearly increased. In other places, the leaders were also performing their roles. They arranged for everyone to exchange. Compared to everyone else, Zichen was too irresponsible. Of course, from another point of view, it was also because Zichen, as the leader, could not control his subordinates. Fang Wuling, the third direct descendant of the Fang clan to enter, did not rush Zichen. Like Zichen, he occasionally scanned the crowd. However, unlike Zichen, He often paid attention to some outstanding female cultivators. His gaze was very unscrupulous as he sized up the other party's figure. This was how a spoiled brat should look like. Cheers would occasionally erupt from the front, but there were also voices of doubt. Zichen finally retracted his gaze. He asked, "What's with the items?" Fang Wuling pointed to the depths and said, "There will be danger inside. If you exchange for some items here, there will be a certain chance of reducing the corresponding danger." Zichen saw that after someone finished exchanging, he did not immediately leave. Instead, he walked to the other side. Interesting. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. After waiting patiently, it was finally their turn. Zichen walked forward. When he reached the front, the bamboo fairies flew forward and a wave of soul power appeared. This wave of soul power entered Zichen's sea of consciousness. In the next moment, it turned into pictures. Under each picture, there was a note. Detoxification fruit, able to detoxify bamboo poison, 5 contribution points. Clear heart and clear eyes liquid, able to break camouflage, 10 contribution points. Exploding fruit, 20 contribution points. Invisible leaf, 30 contribution points. Aside from the various items, there were also many soul weapons and defensive armors. There were so many that even Zichen, who had traveled extensively, was dazzled and moved. There was even a full set of armor on the last page. However, the cost was also very high, requiring 10,000 contribution points. Along the way, Zichen had only obtained a bit more than 1,000 contribution points. You even have a full set of armor, your Fang clan is truly rich. Zichen couldn't help but sigh. If someone knew about this in advance, as long as they stayed in the bamboo forest and fought, they would be able to exchange for as many armors as there were here. No wonder so many people showed regretful expressions before. So that's the reason. These armors are not from the Fang clan, but from the Bamboo Sea world. Have you forgotten that the reason why my Fang clan was able to prosper was all because of the Bamboo Sea world? Fang Wuling replied. Zichen's expression changed. This is interesting. It's a pity that I can't turn back. Otherwise, Zichen would really want to get 10,000 contribution points to see what the armors here are like. Are they made of bamboo? Soul weapons and armors are not very useful here. You should exchange for as many items as you can, the more the better. They will be very useful in the depths. Chapter 3907. Zichen exchanged all of the contribution points in the jade token for items. If his senses were not wrong, there might be great danger ahead. The 3 women also followed Zichen's instructions and exchanged enough fruit items. After the exchange, Zichen scanned the surroundings and found that there were many people waiting for him. If Zichen's memory was not wrong, those people waiting were all from his team. They, who were free to move, now chose to wait. He glanced at Fang Wulian beside him and said with a smile, "I didn't expect these elites you found to be so loyal to you." Fang Wulian understood this time. This was not a compliment, but a mocking one. However, he did not become angry and instead asked, "What do you plan to do? Let's go in and take a look first." Zichen walked forward. He had promised Fang Wulian, so he could not leave. The passage in the sky was still there, but so far, no one had left. Thinking about it, how many years would it take for such an opportunity to appear? Who would want to miss it? If he was not mistaken, many of these people came from other families, and they all had ulterior motives. No one would leave before seeing the greatest secret of the Bamboo Sea world. In fact, Zichen still had a doubt in his heart. Could the passage in the sky really leave? Second young master, what should we do now? Wang Zhe, who Zichen had seen before, walked over with a dozen people behind him. Fang Wulian looked at Zichen and said, "Zichen is the leader, you should ask him." Apart from Wang Zhe, there were nearly 100 people standing there, not moving. Each of the Fang family's direct descendants could bring 200 people in. At this moment, those who did not wait were all because of Zichen's words. After exchanging for resources, they directly entered. Not only did they not put Zichen in their eyes, but they also did not put Fang Wulian in their eyes. However, in Zichen's eyes, these people were the most adorable. Wang Zhe looked at Zichen with an unfriendly gaze. Zichen waved his hand and said, "You can do whatever you want." "What did you say?" Wang Zhe's eyes turned cold. "Move freely and act according to the circumstances. Try to get as many resources as you can so that you won't have come here in vain," Zichen said again, his voice still calm. "Did second young master ask you to come here so that you can move freely? Are you courting death?" Wang Zhe said indifferently, "You don't care about second young master's life and death, but we still have to protect second young master. We won't let him be threatened." Wang Zhe turned around and looked at the crowd in the distance. "Don't you agree?" "Yes." A loud and clear voice sounded. It was obvious that there were many supporters. Zichen was amused. This was quite interesting. Wang Zhe turned around and cupped his fists at Fang Wulian. "Second young master, from now on, we will be responsible for your safety. Don't worry, I won't compete with this guy for the position of leader, and I won't accept his reward. The only reason we're here is because second young master gave us a chance. We can't be ungrateful people. We swear to protect second young master with our lives. We won't be ungrateful people." The voices sounded again, loud and clear. Many people in the distance looked over. They were already discussing whether to enter the depths, but this side was still expressing their loyalty. Hearing Wang Zhe's words, Fang Wulian was very emotional and moved. He immediately went up and patted Wang Zhe's shoulder, saying, "Wang Zhe, you're so considerate. Everyone is considerate too. Don't worry, no matter what the final result is, I won't mistreat anyone. From now on, as long as I, Fang Wulian, eat, everyone will drink." While the people here were impassioned, on the other side, Fang Wulian had already led his people into the depths. Fang Wuling also left, but before she left, she glanced at Fang Wulian with a strange expression. Coincidentally, her casual glance was seen by Zichen. "You still have the face to stay here. If I were you, I would have died of shame." After expressing his loyalty, Wang Zhe looked at Zichen and snorted coldly. Zichen picked his ear and said obscenely, "You're not going to fight with me for the reward of the leader, so why can't I stay here? You guys do the work, and I take the final reward. Isn't that better?" "You," Wang Zhe was rebuked and trembled with anger, "you're really shameless. Cut the crap. I let you move freely, but you don't want to. Don't blame me for giving the order." Zichen's expression suddenly became serious. He glanced at the crowd and said indifferently, "Everyone in the team, go in immediately. With you loyal cannon fodder in the front line, I believe your second young master will be safe." As soon as he said that, of course, the crowd was angered again. Immediately, a few people exploded, but they didn't go against Zichen. Instead, they left directly. Obviously, they were going to move freely. No one was willing to be cannon fodder. But it wasn't absolute. Wang Zhe didn't leave, and many others didn't either. So they could only listen to Zichen's orders and walk in front. The group walked past the exchange area. After about a few miles, they saw a bamboo forest. This time, the bamboo forest had no end. Outside the bamboo forest, there was a layer of white fog. It was like a dense concentration of spiritual energy, or some kind of miasma. Everyone took out their weapons. Fang Wulian's magic robe began to emit light. Shan Kuei had another set of armor on his body. He was fully armed at this moment. Shan Ya and Lan Jiumeng both took out their weapons. Yu Gui stood on Zichen's shoulder and looked forward vigilantly. Shijiao was the closest to Zichen. Because she was the weakest, she needed protection. The group of people entered the white fog. In the square outside the Fang family, after everyone stepped into the white fog, the image in the sky became blank. The Earth Soul Realm expert from before rose into the air and said with shame, "Everyone, the image can only be seen here. We can't monitor the deeper areas yet." Many people had regretful looks on their faces, and some people even had a bad feeling in their hearts. They thought that they could keep watching their performance. This way, not only could they see the Fang family's secret, but they could also know everyone's situation. They didn't expect it to turn out like this. For a time, all kinds of discussions sounded. In the crowd, old Tang, who had appeared out of nowhere, saw the disappearing image and muttered, Is the hidden danger in the deeper areas? After entering the white fog, Zichen clearly felt that Fang Wulian, who was beside him, heaved a sigh of relief. Previously, he had something to say but didn't say it clearly. Zichen understood some of it and didn't let the others ask. Tell me, what happened this time? Zichen asked. Chapter 3908. Zichen stopped moving forward and looked at Fang Wulian in surprise. Give up this world. After coming to the periphery of this world, everyone's harvest was enough to strengthen a family. Naturally, there were more and better resources in the depths. It could be said that the Fang family was able to rise because they relied on this world to achieve their current status. Why give up? Even Shijio was very surprised. Without this world, the first-rate Fang family would soon become a second-rate family. At this moment, there were only 6 people here, so Fang Wulian did not have any scruples. This is the information that I paid a huge price to obtain. It shouldn't be wrong. He looked forward and said faintly, because some uncontrollable factors have appeared in this world. It seems that some kind of mutation has occurred and it has become very dangerous. As if to verify Fang Wulian's words, a scream suddenly sounded. There were no casualties along the way, but just as they reached here, there were deaths. Following that, screams continuously sounded. It's the bamboo monsters. Retreat, retreat. Someone shouted loudly and began to retreat. However, the thick fog around them also began to roll and become thicker and sticky, greatly affecting everyone's vision. Even Zichen could only see within a range of 10 feet. Moreover, within this range, the thick fog seemed to be moving according to a certain trajectory. Wang Zhe led his men to the back. After seeing Fang Wulian, he shouted, "Protect second young master." Everyone protected Fang Wulian. However, Shan Kuei, who was at the side, was clearly more vigilant against these people. As Fang Wulian's most loyal guard, he was vigilant against Zichen, let alone the others. Zichen's expression did not change much. He was still as calm as before. Screams continued to rise and fall. Ever since they appeared, they had not stopped. As the leader, why don't you go ahead and take a look? Are you going to let them die here? Wang Zhe looked back at Zichen and criticized him in dissatisfaction. Leader. Now you know that I'm the leader. Sorry, it's too late. After moving freely, you are responsible for your own life and death. Zichen responded indifferently. Moreover, if more people die, maybe the bamboo monsters will be merciful and not attack us. Wang Zhe gritted his teeth in hatred. The people beside him were also coldly staring at Zichen. This leader was simply too shameless. Zichen didn't care about this at all. He continued to follow behind, acting like an incompetent leader. From the beginning to the end, Fang Wulian did not say a word. Obviously, he approved of all of Zichen's decisions and was very supportive of them. Previously, Zichen had treated their expressions of sincerity as a joke, but Fang Wulian had treated it as a joke as well. The only difference was that he had cooperated with these monkeys to act out a touching scene. After entering the white fog, Fang Wuling and Fang Wudao's teams had already merged together. The two of them were walking at the back, while the people in the team were scouting ahead until they heard screams. Even though they were all elites, there were still casualties in an instant. Use the heart-purifying eye-brightening liquid. However, unlike the panic of the other teams, Fang Wuling rationally commanded from the back. The people at the front all took out the spirit liquid that they had exchanged for earlier and swallowed it. The white fog in their vision gradually disappeared until everyone's vision was restored. One drop can only last for 2 hours. Everyone, try to move faster. Fang Wuling continued. After their vision was restored, everyone's speed was clearly much faster. However, as they moved forward, the casualties continued to increase. Fang Wuling looked ahead. The ones that had killed her subordinates were the green bamboos. After this mutation, the originally gentle green bamboos had become even more violent and powerful for some unknown reason. She carefully looked ahead and discovered that once the nearby bamboo had succeeded, they would become quiet and no longer attack anyone who passed by. After observing for a while, Fang Wuling said, It seems like it is as that person said. They are thirsting for blood. Once they have devoured enough, they will stop and return to their original gentle state. Fang Wudao slowly nodded and said, perhaps he can really resolve the crisis of the bamboo sea this time. How is the situation over there? Fang Wuling said, someone is watching. There shouldn't be any mistakes. All these years, he's been pretending to be crazy, and we've always turned a blind eye to him. But recently, he's been getting more and more restless. Now, he's even got the guts to think about the identity of the successor. Don't even think about leaving here alive. Just a bastard. Big brother, don't worry about him. Fang Wuling said indifferently, tell people to be careful. From the information I have gathered, that Zichen beside him is indeed very strong and cannot be underestimated. Yes, I will tell people to be careful. However, don't worry too much. After all, this time, we do not plan on letting an outsider leave alive. Just as all the teams were slowly moving forward, a black-robed person came from behind. In this bamboo forest that had devoured many lives, he was strolling leisurely as if he was walking in his own garden. Along the way, not a single bamboo attacked him. The bamboo monsters that could previously transform seemed to have fallen into a deep sleep and became abnormally quiet. Sleeping so quickly. It seems that you in the depths are about to change. The black-robed person smiled faintly. With you people using your lives to pave the way, the people behind will be able to safely reach the end. The effect of this heart-cleansing and eye-brightening liquid is really not bad. If I had known earlier, I would have exchanged for more. After swallowing a drop of the heart-cleansing and eye-brightening liquid, Zichen's vision recovered. The surrounding white fog also seemed to have slowed down because of this. He saw that the bamboo in front of him had turned into bamboo monsters and were attacking the human soul realm cultivators at the front. The light of their soul weapons flashed as they fought back and killed one bamboo monster after another. After the bamboo monsters died, there would be bamboo joints left behind, which could be considered an opportunity. However, after the human soul realm cultivators died, they would also be eaten by the nearby bamboo monsters. Until now, Zichen still had not made a move, but he was walking closer to Fang Wulian. Lan Jiumeng, Shan Ya, and Shan Kuei were on the outside while Shijiu, Zichen, and Fang Wulian were in the middle. During this time, the two of them stood on Zichen's left and right. It was not to protect Zichen, but to allow Zichen to rescue them in time if danger occurred. As for Wang Zhe's people, they were leading the way. During this time, in order to ensure Fang Wulian's safety, Wang Zhe would occasionally turn his head and look around vigilantly. Most of the time, he would also cast a cold glance at Zichen. After walking like this for several hours, the casualties in the team were getting higher and higher. If this continued, perhaps all of them would die here. Suddenly, Wang Zhe stopped walking. As he turned around, his eyes became extremely cold. Chapter 3909. Wang Zhe glanced at Zichen, then looked at the calm Fang Wulian and said, "What's the point of acting? You two are really ruthless. Are you just going to watch everyone die?" Zichen spread out his hands and said helplessly, "There's nothing we can do. You're so good at acting. Naturally, we have to give you some space to perform." "Bah! Who do you think you are? How dare you teach me a lesson?" Wang Zhe spat on the ground, his face full of disdain. Then, he looked at Fang Wulian. "You're quite ruthless, you fool. So many people died for you, but you didn't even blink." "Wang Zhe, watch your tone," Shan Kuei said coldly. "Watch my ass. You guys can't even be considered as humans. It's better to die early and reincarnate early. Without you scourges, the world will be quieter." Just as he was speaking, people appeared one after another. They were all from the previous team. Originally, they wanted to find an opportunity to sneak attack, but they didn't expect that Zichen didn't use them at all. They kept moving forward, and people kept dying. If they didn't make a move, they would all die. Being ridiculed by Wang Zhe, Fang Wulian didn't get angry. Instead, he looked at him and asked, "Who wants to kill me? When you die, I'll send you a message by burning paper." At this time, the surrounding people began to close in. Their eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. Lan Jiu Meng and Shan Ya both took a step forward and took out their soul weapons. After the last battle on the sacred mountain, no one dared to be careless. At the crucial moment of battle, the sacred soul weapon would be in hand. You guys didn't make a move along the way. Let me do it. Zichen suddenly said. He didn't give the two girls a chance to answer and just walked forward. The two girls had to retreat. However, they were very annoyed with Fang Wulian. So, when they were guarding, they only protected Shizhou and excluded Fang Wulian. Fang Wulian noticed their small actions. He shook his head and smiled. He didn't care. Yu Gui stood on Zichen's shoulder and bared his teeth at the human soul realm in front of him. Reckless fool, you dare to come here alone to seek death. Seeing Zichen come forward, Wang Zhe couldn't help but sneer. But soon, his smile froze because Zichen had disappeared. In the next moment, a beam of light appeared in front of his eyes. Wang Zhe's expression changed abruptly, and he began to mobilize all the power in his body. But it was too late. His neck was grabbed by Zichen. The force of inertia carried his body and smashed him into the distance. With a loud bang, Wang Zhe's body smashed into the ground. The back of his head sunk into the ground. Countless yellow bamboo leaves flew into the air. Blood began to spurt out of his mouth, and his eyes were filled with shock. The others were also dumbfounded. Along the way, they had not seen Zichen make a move. They did not expect that he would be able to subdue Wang Zhe in one move. Zichen's eyes were frosty as he looked at Wang Zhe. Can't you just look for opportunities properly? Why do you have to court death? Wang Zhe was ashamed and indignant. His shocked eyes were filled with hatred. A low and hoarse voice came out of his mouth. Kill him. The surrounding people who were in a daze came to their senses. All kinds of soul lights began to flicker as they went straight for Zichen. Zichen stood up and stomped his foot. Wang Zhe's body sunk into the ground. In the next moment, a long rod appeared in his hand. With the long rod in hand, he immediately swept it across. A shadow of the rod moved forward. Everywhere it passed, the green bamboo that was blocking the way was broken. Those attacks that were going straight for him were also broken. The bamboo leaves were shaken and flew up. An empty area of more than 10 feet was revealed. More than 10 people fell at the edge of the empty area and wailed. Zichen stood up with the support of the rod, and his cold gaze swept around. Wang Zhe, who had sunk into the ground, coughed out blood again. He was already breathing more than he was inhaling. Don't you want the opportunities? Zichen looked at the crowd and asked indifferently. If you don't die, why do you want the opportunities? Wang Zhe, who was on the verge of death, suddenly stood up. He immediately flew back and at the same time, his cold voice sounded again. Kill them. The empty area was immediately filled up. Then, one after another, holy talismans appeared and flew towards the sky. These were not ordinary holy talismans, but holy talisman arrays, which were extremely rare in this world. The holy talismans glowed and formed an inescapable net. With a terrifying aura, it pressed down on the ground. Wang Zhe, who was standing outside the holy talisman array, sneered. What an idiot. Since I dared to deal with you, do you think I didn't make any preparations? At this moment, the huge net enveloped Zichen and the other 5. Obviously, it was going to kill them all. At this moment, the falling net suddenly stopped. Then, as if it was blown up by a hurricane, it flew towards the sky. Buzz! With a tremor, the array formed by many holy talismans shattered. The holy talismans floating in the sky instantly turned into flames and disappeared. Zichen was still standing in the same place. However, the long rod that he had propped on the ground was now pointed at Wang Zhe. How is this possible? Wang Zhe widened his eyes and looked at Zichen in disbelief. This holy talisman array was his greatest trump card and also the source of his confidence. It was said that it could even temporarily trap an Earth Soul Realm expert. How could it be broken so easily? You've worked hard. I'll send you on your way. Zichen's voice sounded again. At the same time, a shadow of a rod that stretched for nearly 100 feet appeared. The shadow of the rod fell and everything was shattered. In the traces left by the straight shadow of the rod, only Wang Zhe was still standing. Blood dripped down from his forehead. His eyes widened as he looked at Zichen in disbelief. His body slowly fell backwards. He was dead. This time, nothing unexpected happened. The others all stood there in a daze, as if they had been petrified. Zichen, who was holding the rod, suddenly narrowed his eyes. He saw a black light suddenly coming in his direction. The long rod in his hand trembled. With a slight tremor, the shadow of the rod fell again. However, the black shadow suddenly sped up and brushed past the long rod. A few drops of blood appeared in the sky. The black shadow did not slow down and went straight for Fang Wulian. Shan Kuei's attack fell. The ground rumbled and a huge deep pit appeared on the ground. Countless dust flew up. The black shadow avoided Shan Kuei's attack and came in front of Fang Wulian. At this moment, a blue light flew in front of the black shadow and directly pierced through the black shadow's body. The black shadow's body paused and a person appeared. He was covered in a black robe. His eyes were different from ordinary people. They were cold and evil. After his figure appeared, he did not slow down and went straight for Fang Wulian. Another beam of light came to his side and passed through him. It was Juer's attack. It was like a flying needle soul weapon. However, the opponent's killing intent was still there. A bright light shone and appeared between the black shadow and Fang Wulian. A strong aura surged. It was Shan Ye's soul weapon. At this moment, it had exploded. Chapter 39:10. The black shadow came quickly, but it retreated even faster. It disappeared in the blink of an eye, leaving only a few streaks of blood falling from the sky. Zichen raised his eyebrows slightly, and a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. He didn't die even after that. Just how strong was his vitality? The expressions of Lan Jiumeng and the others changed, while Fang Wulian, who hadn't moved a single step from the beginning to the end, gradually became gloomy. Shan Kuei was extremely shocked. He quickly flew to Fang Wulian's side, and a hint of fear appeared in his eyes. The black shadow had appeared too suddenly. If Zichen hadn't noticed it in time and stopped it, he wouldn't have been able to react at all. But even so, his attack still missed. The human soul experts who had tried to surround and kill Fang Wulian stood there in a daze after Wang Zhe was killed, and they didn't move a single step. Let's go deeper. Zichen glanced at the crowd and said indifferently. He walked forward, and wherever he passed, the crowd subconsciously retreated, fear in their eyes. Zichen searched the dead Wang Zhe's body and took away the item he had exchanged for earlier. It was good stuff, and the more the better. After that, Zichen raised his head and looked at the crowd who still hadn't moved. He said, "What are you still standing there for? Don't you want the opportunity?" The crowd looked at each other, and some of them couldn't believe that this matter would be let go just like that. Fang Wulian walked forward and waved his hand. "The opportunity is the most important. Everyone, let's continue forward. This matter is over." Everyone had already seen Zichen's strength. Naturally, he was extremely powerful, and it would be very easy for him to kill them. They were all human soul experts, so they were naturally not stupid. They clearly knew Zichen and Fang Wulian's goal. Everything was just as Zichen had said. He needed cannon fodder. Now, they had no choice. They could either go deeper and open up a path as cannon fodder, or immediately fight to the death with Zichen. However, the few moves that Zichen had displayed earlier had already scared them out of their wits. Therefore, they didn't dare to fight anymore, and could only move forward. With the death of a drama queen and the escape of a shadow, everything returned to how it was before. Everyone was still working as cannon fodder. Zichen followed behind and enjoyed the fruits of their labor. "Someone from my family wants to kill me." Fang Wulian's mood became very bad, even a little depressed. Zichen glanced at him. How fresh. Before he entered, he caught a glimpse of Fang Wulian's gaze. It was a gaze that he had seen many times before, a gaze that looked at a dead person. Wang Zhe's preparation and the black figure might be Fang Wulian's doing. Zichen didn't hide anything from Fang Wulian. Shijiao carefully sized up Fang Wulian. "With your level, they shouldn't be worried about your identity as the successor, right? Why would they need to silence you?" His words weren't pleasant to hear, but his reasoning was correct. There were many geniuses in the Fang family. With Fang Wulian's mediocre strength and sparse soul force, Shizhou didn't dare to say that she could defeat all of them, but it wouldn't be a problem for her to defeat 2 of them. Why would Fang Wuling need to kill such a person? Besides, even if there was a conflict between them, they were still half-siblings. Fang Wulian didn't try to redeem himself with words. It seemed that after coming here, his personality had changed, or rather, he had returned to his original nature. His previous playboy personality was just an act. That's not the only reason. Their original intention should be to destroy the Fang family's bloodline and peerless geniuses. Hearing this, everyone looked at each other. Wasn't this too shameless? Previously, they thought that Fang Wulian had changed a little. Who would have thought that he would say such shameless words in the next moment? It's true. This time, it was Shan Kuei who spoke. He said in a deep voice, "Young master is the top genius of the Fang family. He has the purest bloodline of the Fang family. When he was born, he even caused a worldly anomaly." Zichen glanced at Shan Kuei. Seeing the other party's serious expression, he smiled embarrassedly and said, "I didn't expect you to be so good at telling jokes." If Fang Wulian didn't have the magic spirit robe on him, he would be at the lowest level of the human soul realm. Zichen could kill a large group of him with a single strike. Fang family's bloodline, worldly anomaly, peerless genius. Zichen obviously didn't believe it. Lan Jiyu Meng and the others didn't believe it either. It's up to you whether to believe it or not. Anyway, the reason why they want to kill me is because they're worried about my rise. Fang Wulian's eyes turned cold. I just didn't expect them to send such a strange person. Speaking of the assassin, Zichen's expression changed a little. The other party's tenacious vitality was completely beyond his expectations. First, he was swept by his attack. Then, he was hit by Lan Jiyu Meng and Xiao Er's attacks. His body was penetrated, but he was still able to escape. You know the origin of that person? I only know that he's a very strange person. He has close ties with the Fang family. He's very powerful and very special. However, I don't know his exact origin. Fang Wulian shook his head, feeling a little depressed. This was originally a secret. He had heard about it when he was looking for information about the Bamboo Sea world. At this moment, in another place, the black figure was lying on the ground. There were 2 bloody holes on his body, and his face was very pale. Damn it, I was careless. He panted softly, his eyes full of coldness. A ripple surged out from his body. The ripple slowly spread out. When the nearby bamboo came into contact with the ripple, they began to wither. The ripples extended to a radius of 10 feet. All the bamboos within a radius of 10 feet withered and withered. The vitality contained within the bamboos entered the black-robed man's body. The other party's originally pale face gradually recovered. The wounds he received also began to heal. He could actually devour bamboo to heal. Such a healing method could be called the Undying Saint technique in this place. Because bamboo was everywhere in this place, life was everywhere. After his wounds healed, the black-robed man suddenly turned his head and shouted, "Who is it? Come out." A person walked out from the bamboo forest. It was the black-robed man who walked behind everyone like he was admiring the scenery. "You've completed the mission?" The other party approached. The black-robed man who had just recovered shook his head and said, "I was careless. They noticed me ahead of time. You didn't complete the mission, and you're also injured. You've really made our soul-devouring clan proud. You've failed your first mission. I was just careless. It's not that they're strong. Don't worry, I'll go kill them now." The other party turned and left. His previous injuries had completely healed. "Forget it. You've already alerted them. We'll talk when we get deeper." The other party waved his hand. The 2 members of the soul-devouring clan walked deeper. The surrounding bamboo was the kind that had devoured enough spiritual energy. Therefore, they were very quiet and would not turn into bamboo monsters to attack. Chapter 39:11. At some point in time, the screaming crowd in front of them quietened down. Then, there was no longer a single human soul in their field of vision. It wasn't that all of them had died, but that those fellows in front were unwilling and chose to escape. However, their method of escape was to go deeper. Although they had suffered heavy casualties along the way, they weren't willing to be cannon fodder and benefit Zichen. Looking at the bamboo forest that had been quiet for a long time, Zichen said, "Looks like we have to do it ourselves." White fog appeared in their field of vision one after another. Furthermore, it was even denser, greatly affecting their vision. The effects of the spirit liquid from before had already disappeared, so they could only continue to swallow a drop. Following that, the few of them safely advanced a few kilometers. Along the way, the green bamboo they encountered gradually changed. The color of the green bamboo became brighter and more vibrant. A green bamboo swayed gently as its surface flickered with light. With a shake of its body, it transformed into a tall bamboo monster and blocked their path. Lan Jiyu Meng stretched out her slender finger. A blue light flew out from her sleeve and pierced through the bamboo monster in front of them. A bloody hole appeared on the bamboo monster's body as blue blood flowed out. The blood sizzled as it fell to the ground. A few large holes were instantly melted into the ground, emitting white smoke that was somewhat pungent. "This is poison," Fang Wulian shouted. The few of them immediately took out the detoxification fruits they had exchanged for and swallowed them. As for the tree monster that was struck by Lan Jiyu Meng's sword, it swayed and fell to the ground, turning into a bright-colored bamboo. It could be refined into weapons with poison attributes, so it was considered a good material. Zichen glanced at Lan Jiyu Meng, who put it away. This was Lan Jiyu Meng's spoils of war. At this moment, the quiet bamboo around them changed one after another. One bamboo monster after another appeared. Shan Kuei and the others immediately attacked and began to kill these bamboo monsters. Zichen stood beside Fang Wulian and observed the surroundings. Shijiao stood on the other side of Zichen and used her sole weapon to attack from afar. One bamboo monster after another was pierced through. Blue blood splattered everywhere as the ground was corroded into thousands of holes. Looking at the intense battle ahead, Zichen said, "Not many people will be able to return alive this time." Fang Wulian nodded. The few people present were all very strong, but they were still blocked by these bamboo monsters. If the others encountered these bamboo monsters, they would probably die. Moreover, they couldn't see the end of this path. No one knew how many dangers awaited them. Zichen said, "If that's the case, isn't your Fang clan worried that other forces will make things difficult for you?" Aside from the Fang clan, there were many other forces that came to the Bamboo Sea world with other motives. Although their motives were not pure, they all had the shadow of a large clan behind them. Once everyone died inside, one could imagine how much pressure the Fang clan would have to bear. Fang Wulian said, "I'm not sure. Perhaps the Fang family will also suffer heavy losses this time. For example, I, a very famous direct descendant, will also die here." Zichen laughed, "You know yourself well." Suddenly, a powerful aura attacked from the front. Shan Kuei, who was wearing battle armor and fighting in close combat, flew back and smashed beside Zichen, raising a large amount of soil. Zichen's expression changed slightly. He looked forward and saw a bamboo monster that was dozens of feet tall appear in his field of vision. Its entire body emitted a red light. The bamboo that made up its body was exceptionally thick. It had a pair of flickering eyes, looking very strange. "This is the Bamboo Monster King." Zichen was slightly stunned because there were clearly more bamboo monsters around them, coming from all directions. Lan Jiyu Meng's soul weapon moved forward again, but when it got close, this extraordinary soul weapon only left a shallow mark on the bamboo monster's body. The blue sword light flashed several times, but it was unable to cut through the monster's body. The attack that killed it in one strike had now lost its effect. The red light on the bamboo monster's body seemed to have a powerful defense, greatly reducing the Lan clan's power. "You should be careful," Zichen instructed. Then, a long staff appeared in his hand and he flew forward. With a loud bang, Shan Kuei, who had just charged forward, was sent flying again. If not for the armor on his body, he might have been seriously injured. Even so, after landing, he still coughed up blood from the shock. There were more and more bamboo monsters around them, like an army that was gathering. Lan Jiu Meng and Shan Ya were already somewhat strenuous and began to gradually retreat. A powerful aura appeared behind the two. Zi Chen was like a bolt of lightning, striking forward with his staff. With a loud bang, a large group of bamboo monsters were sent flying. An open area appeared in front of them. And at the end of the open area was the red bamboo monster. Zi Chen took a step forward, causing the ground to shake violently. He was like a cannonball, flying forward. A bamboo blade appeared in the hands of the bamboo monster king. The main blade slashed forward, leaving a clear mark in the sky. The bamboo blade enlarged, its light illuminating the world. An earth-shattering aura surged down. On Zi Chen's left hand, a light shield appeared, releasing a strong light. It also enlarged, blocking above his head. Boom! The light shield trembled, countless rays of light fell down from all directions. A powerful force pressed down on the light shield. Zi Chen's body landed back on the ground. There were several cracks on the ground, and countless withered bamboo leaves flew into the air along with the dust. At this moment, Zi Chen sensed that there was a mountain pressing down on the light shield. He, who was holding the shield, was somewhat unable to breathe. Lan Jiu Meng and the others' faces changed, and they were about to go forward to support him. At this moment, another ray of light appeared in the world. This time, the light was purple. The surging aura was even more powerful and terrifying, instantly piercing through the world. More than half of the red light on the huge bamboo monster king's body dissipated, and its body was sent flying. When it fell to the ground, it let out a sharp cry. The other bamboo monsters abandoned their opponents and attacked Zi Chen. The light shield in Zi Chen's hand disappeared, and the patterns on the staff lit up by about 2/3. Rays of purple light flowed on the surface of his body. He swept the staff horizontally. A purple shadow of a staff moved forward, drawing a perfect half-arc. Within this half-arc, all the bamboo monsters and bamboo monsters were split into two. The bamboo monsters that were originally blocking the way were cleared out. Zi Chen's figure disappeared again. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the bamboo monster king. His gaze was cold, and he swung the staff down again. The purple light soared into the sky, illuminating the area within a radius of 10 li, attracting countless gazes. Another rumbling sound rang out, and the ground shook violently. In front of Zi Chen, a crater with a radius of 300 meters appeared. Chapter 39:12. After the bamboo monster king died, it left behind an extremely precious refining material. Zi Chen picked it up. The bamboo joint shone brightly, but it also contained a strong poisonous aura. He wrapped it in energy and put it away. The surrounding bamboo monsters summoned by the bamboo monster king did not flee in a sorry state because of their king's death. They were still charging forward, but this time, there was no order. They were no longer targeting Zi Chen alone. Everyone began to work together. Even Fang Wulian was no longer idle. With the magic spirit robe on his body, his battle prowess had increased by several levels. Killing those bamboo monsters was relatively easy. However, without the cannon fodder from before, those hungry bamboo monsters seemed to have gone mad. They constantly attacked the few of them. Zi Chen had no choice but to retreat and attack again. Although he was able to sweep away a large number of bamboo monsters each time, helping everyone clear out an empty space, there were simply too many bamboo monsters. There was practically no end to them. Zi Chen looked at the endless bamboo forest and then looked at the bamboo monsters gathering in the distance. He said, "Continue forward and accumulate strength." At this moment, Zi Chen actually felt a little regretful. If he had known that the road ahead would be so difficult, he would have treated those who wanted to kill Fang Wulian kindly. They would have gone deeper together first. But now, they needed the few of them to defend against such a great danger. And Zi Chen felt the danger. From this, it could be seen that the others were in a similar situation. By the time they reached this place, the total number of people had decreased by half. As they continued to advance, the number of people was still decreasing. It was likely that in the end, not many people would be able to survive. Among everyone, the ones who advanced the most freely and calmly should be the two from the Soul Devourers. Wherever they passed, all the bamboo monsters that tried to attack the two of them would silently disperse, turning into the purest energy that was absorbed by the two of them. As for the bamboo monsters, they were fearless when they were slaughtered by Zichen and the others. However, in front of the two of them, it was as if they had met their nemesis. They were terrified. Along the way, Zichen had seen far too many bamboo monsters. Even though he had only opened a path, the number of bamboo monsters he had killed along the way was still a huge number. He didn't know how the other teams would fare, but Zichen believed that none of the people who had left back then would have made it here alive. Just like that, they fought and advanced. During this period of time, they would also take turns to rest and accumulate strength. Everyone had complete trust in each other, so their cooperation was also very good. The items that they had exchanged before were continuously used up. I don't have any more heart-purifying fluid. In Shan Ya's field of vision, countless white fog appeared. She subconsciously reached out to grab the items, but found that she had already used up all of them. Me too. Lan Jiu Meng shook her head. At this moment, white fog also appeared in front of her eyes. Zichen took out 2 drops of heart-cleansing eye-brightening liquid and handed it to the two of them, then looked to the side. Xiao said, "I don't want it. My soul weapon can automatically find enemies to attack." Fang Wulian also said, "My attack is too weak. I don't want it either. It's completely wasted on me." Zichen gave another drop to Shan Kuei. The other party was wearing battle armor, so he could charge and break through the enemy lines. At critical moments, he could even block attacks for everyone. Zichen also swallowed a drop. He walked at the front with a staff and shield in his hands. Shan Kuei was arranged to be at the back by him, in charge of covering the rear. As the items were used up, their speed clearly slowed down. However, the bamboo monsters were not affected. Instead, their attacks became even sharper. Just when everyone was feeling exhausted and their items had been used up one after another, they finally saw the end of the bamboo forest. However, they only saw it for a moment before the effect of the heart-cleansing eye-brightening liquid disappeared. Thick fog filled their field of vision. As the white fog rolled, many bamboo monsters charged forward. Zichen, who was standing at the front, took a deep breath. The long staff in his hand began to tremble, and the patterns on it lit up one after another. He poured his little soul power into it. A purple light bloomed from it. Zichen took a step forward and swept his staff. The purple light rushed forward, and the white fog around them rolled crazily, drowning the purple light in front of them. Without the heart-cleansing eye-brightening liquid, no one could see what was happening in front of them. However, from time to time, there would be sounds of explosions, indicating that the bamboo monsters were being killed. "Let's go," Zichen shouted. He obviously increased his speed and crashed into the white fog. Lan Jiu Meng and the others followed closely behind. This was the final sprint. After a moment, another purple light lit up, and it headed towards the end of the bamboo forest. Immediately after, a third purple light appeared. On the path not far away, Zichen displayed a total of 5 powerful attacks. Only then did he open up a safe path for everyone. When they walked out of the bamboo forest, one gaze after another was immediately cast in their direction. The commotion caused by Zichen's final attack was too great. Sensing the aura of the purple light, many people's hearts trembled. The 6 of them walked out together, and their field of vision immediately widened. However, all of them were exhausted and had consumed a lot of energy. Zichen did not put away his staff, nor did he relax. This was because there were already people here, and there were more than 200 people. When they came, there were thousands of people, but only a few people were able to make it here. It was obvious that the casualties were great. Naturally, there were those who came early and those who came late. Those who came early were at their peak, while those who came late were still recovering. Zichen gave a few people a look. Everyone subconsciously distanced themselves from the group. Without needing Zichen's instructions, they began to recover. Zichen stood there with a long staff in his hand. It could be said that he was protecting everyone. After all, the people here could also be enemies. "You should recover first. In this place, no one should attack us," Fang Wulian said. Zichen shook his head slightly. He did not feel at ease leaving his life in the hands of a group of strangers. Not bad. You actually made it here alive. A faint voice came from not far away. It was Fang Wuling. She was walking towards them. Wuling, it's you. Fang Wuling's face had a smile. At the same time, he subconsciously bent down. This was his posture in front of Fang Wuling. Beside Fang Wuling, Fang Wudao also walked towards them. Big brother is here too. Fang Wuling bent down a little more. This was not like seeing siblings, but more like a servant seeing his master. Fang Wudao said indifferently, "You've been acting for so many years. Aren't you tired?" Fang Wuling was slightly stunned. "Big brother, what do you mean?" Fang Wudao said, "I'm very surprised that you're still alive. However, I've had enough of your acting. After so many years, you really think everyone is a fool." The smile on Fang Wuling's face disappeared. He straightened his bent back and sighed. "If I don't act, I won't be able to survive in the Fang clan. I can only continue acting. When my mother was killed by you, I was acting as an ignorant child. I did not even dare to shed a tear. I had to pretend that I had nothing to do every day. In order to survive, I purposely did not cultivate properly. I tried my best to slow down my progress. However, my bloodline was still forcefully destroyed by you. The pain of losing my bloodline was still fresh in my mind. At that time, I felt like half of my life was gone. However, I did not dare to get angry. Nor did I have anyone to complain to. When I saw you, I was like a dog that had seen its master. I kept on wagging my tail and begging you to let me live. During this period, no matter how unpleasant the words were, I had to endure them. Moreover, I had to face them with a smile." Chapter 39:13. Fang Wulian didn't suppress his voice, so everyone heard him clearly. For a moment, everyone was stunned, including those from the Fang clan. Everyone in the Fang clan knew that Fang Wulian didn't have a high status in the clan. If he wasn't lucky enough to be reincarnated into a good family and have a brother and sister to protect him, no one would dare to go against him. With his personality, he would have died countless times. Due to various pressures, Fang Wulian moved 3 times, but the place he occupied was still the best residence in the clan, which was ranked in the top 20. Originally, everyone thought that it was because of the brother and sister, but now it seemed that it had a lot to do with his identity as a genius. For many outsiders who were lucky enough to be here, Fang Wulian's words were like a clap of thunder, causing them to be shocked. Who would have thought that Fang Wulian, who was extremely famous to the outside world, the notorious second generation, was actually living such a life in the Fang clan? Zichen was also stunned, and the expressions of Xiao and the others changed. A complicated emotion emerged in their hearts. Fang Wulian said indifferently, "It seems that you've been working hard for so many years. Now that I'm not giving you a chance to act and let you be your true self, you should be thanking me, not complaining." Fang Wuling said coldly, "Ungrateful bastard, if it wasn't for us, would you be able to live until now?" Fang Wulian said, "The reason I'm able to live until now, other than my own failure, I also have to thank those old people who supported me. They worked hard to live, so all these years, you could only slowly rack your brains to kill them one by one. Do you know what I wanted to tell you the most all these years?" Fang Wulian took a deep breath and said, "You're a pair of famous adulterers, recognized as geniuses, but you're not even worthy of carrying my shoes. If it wasn't for scheming, my talent would have left you in the dust." "Yes, that's much better." Fang Wulian smiled and said, "I've been tolerating you adulterers for a long time. You're courting death." Fang Wuling moved, and like a ray of light, he charged towards Fang Wulian. Fang Wulian stood there without moving. At this moment, he had a smile on his face, but it also carried a sense of relief. Shan Kuei wanted to step forward, but he had expended too much energy earlier. At this moment, he was almost exhausted, and his movements were obviously slower. Fang Wuling's palm seemed to have transformed into an eagle's claw. A sharp aura surged from her fingertips. At this moment, her killing intent was no longer concealed. Zichen stood there without moving, as if he didn't notice that Fang Wulian was in danger. He looked at Fang Wulian and gripped the black rod tightly. The patterns on the rod began to change and gradually light up. A soul light suddenly appeared in front of Fang Wulian like a bolt of lightning and blocked the attack of the eagle claw. It was a weapon that looked like a long needle. It surged with a powerful aura, resisting the power contained in the eagle claw. It was Shijiao. She, who had always hated Fang Wulian, actually saved him at this moment. Wang. The black staff in Zichen's hand erupted, and a powerful aura surged up like a violent storm, bringing with it a strong wind. His hair fluttering in the wind, Zichen's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. Fang Wuling grabbed the soul weapon and slid backwards. Shan Kuei, who tried to approach, was also forced back. The long staff in Zichen's hand pierced forward like a long sword. Countless ripples surged on the body of the staff. This scene looked as if Zichen took the initiative to attack Fang Wulian. In fact, it wasn't. A black shadow appeared in front of Fang Wulian, and then retreated like a shooting star. Fang Wulian also retreated. Zichen's attack shook the front, and several cracks appeared on the ground. There were also some clear scratches in the air. After the attack, Zichen immediately withdrew his staff. His face was a little pale. This was already the last of his strength. Shijiao withdrew her soul weapon. She only glanced at Fang Wuling, and then continued to sit cross-legged. At the same time, she took out a medicinal pill and swallowed it. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Lan Jiumeng and Shan Ya were still recovering with their eyes closed. The unforeseen event in front of them didn't affect them. Do we fight now or go in? Zichen glanced to the side. There was still a bamboo forest there. Obviously, there was still danger in there. As he withdrew his gaze, he looked behind Fang Wulian. The black shadow turned into a black-robed man. He couldn't see the other's face, but the aura that flowed around the other's body was a little strange. There was a sense of déjà vu. Fang Wulian snorted. Do you think you still have the strength to fight now? Zichen said indifferently, what if I do? Fang Wulian frowned. He was willing to shed all pretense of cordiality with Fang Wulian because he knew the secret of this place. This time, not many people could leave alive. Fang Wulian and Zichen were not included in this group. Now, according to Zichen's overall condition, he was confident that he could kill him. But as Zichen said, what if he still had the strength to fight, and both sides were injured? There were still more than 200 people here. There might be some who came up with the idea at the last minute. He sank into silence, calculating the gains and losses of this battle. It's not wise to fight now. Let them continue to be cannon fodder. A sound transmission sounded in Fang Wulian's knowledge sea. Fang Wulian smiled and said, my brother is heartless, but I can't be unrighteous. I've already protected him for so long. Of course, I don't care if it lasts a little longer. After speaking, Fang Wulian turned and left. Fang Wuling coldly glanced at the crowd. The warning in his eyes was very obvious. Seeing the two leave, Zichen also breathed a sigh of relief. 2 saint runes flew out in front of him and landed on his arms. Strands of power flowed into his body through his arms. He also began to recover, but he couldn't maintain his full strength. His recovery speed was not fast. At this moment, Lan Jiumeng's blue dragon beast flew out and landed on Zichen's head. Fang Wulian spent most of his time sleeping and did not care about the outside world. However, as long as he attacked, victory was almost certain. Now that Fang Wulian had taken the initiative to appear, Zichen was also relieved. He sat down cross-legged and began to recover at full speed. Fang Wulian also sat down. For them, recovering to their peak state was the most important thing. Fang Wulian glanced over with some unwillingness in his eyes, but in the end, he did not continue to attack. There were more people recovering in the surroundings, but this time, they clearly had more things on their minds. Fang Wulian wanted to kill Fang Wulian, and Fang Wulian had directly revealed the relationship between them. They could be said to have indirectly found out about the Fang family's secret. Would Fang Wulian let them go? As time passed, some people had already recovered. However, they did not continue to go deeper. Instead, they gathered in groups of 3 or 5, discussing something. Their gazes would occasionally look towards the depths of the bamboo forest. It was not easy to reach here, and their losses could be said to be great. If there was a similar endless bamboo forest ahead, almost no one would be able to reach the end. This was because almost all of their items had been used up. If they entered the bamboo forest again, they would not even be able to determine their direction. As such, their chances of dying would be even higher. 2 hours later, Zichen had completely recovered and reached his peak state. However, he did not wake up and continued to close his eyes, pretending to recover. This was because the people who had arrived were all still in this area. None of them chose to go deeper. Everyone seemed to be waiting for something, or rather, they were not willing to be the first to enter. Another hour passed, but there was still no movement in the surroundings. Zichen opened his eyes. He couldn't go on like this. After he stood up, Lan Jiumeng and the others also stood up. After a long period of recovery, everyone's strength had reached their peak state. Fang Wulian glanced at the depths of the bamboo forest and said, "Those who can reach here are not fools." Zichen looked into the distance. At this moment, almost everyone had recovered, and their gazes were wandering around casually. It seemed that they were all waiting for the first person to enter. In the end, Zichen's gaze fell on Fang Wudao. He was sitting there and chatting with someone next to him. As if sensing Zichen's gaze, he turned around and glanced at Zichen. "Do you know what's inside?" Zichen suddenly asked. No one knew who he was asking. "I don't know," Fang Wulian replied. "Even you don't know what's inside. It seems that the confidentiality is very good." Zichen did not suppress his voice. Or rather, his purpose of speaking was to let others hear him. For a moment, many gazes fell on him. Zichen said with a smile, "It seems that we have to continue waiting. This time, so many people from your family came. Someone must know what's in the depths. Maybe there's a great secret." With that, Zichen sat down again and prepared to comprehend the spell. "What if there's really something good inside?" Shijiao suddenly asked. "That's just a guess. What if there's no secret? After all, someone is more anxious than us. Moreover, if we stay here for a few years, we might be able to break through." With that, Zichen closed his eyes. It seemed that he was really going to fight a protracted battle. There was a hidden meaning in his words. Previously, they were still uneasy and anxious, but now they were relieved. The people from the Fang family were not anxious, so they were not anxious either. Even if it was a battle of attrition, they had a reason to wait. That insidious thief. A cold light flashed in Fang Wuling's eyes. In this case, those who were anxious and wavering would definitely not enter rashly. Then, other than the Fang family, no one would move for the time being. There was no cannon fodder. Fang Wudao did not say anything. He still sat there, and even his expression did not change much. Just like that, another hour passed. Everyone's expression was calm as they waited quietly. They were no longer anxious or anxious. Fang Wudao stood up and said, "Everyone." Everyone's gazes were attracted. "There is indeed a fortuitous opportunity in the depths, and it's a great one. My Fang family made its fortune here, but for some reason, the originally gentle bamboo has become abnormally ferocious. Everyone has seen it before, it's very dangerous." Fang Wudao pointed at the depths and said, "This time, when the bamboo ocean world opens, my Fang family has the intention of abandoning this place. At the same time, we also plan to take the fortuitous opportunity in the depths with us." This was the Fang family's secret. Now that Fang Wudao said it, everyone's expression changed quite a bit. However, one thing was certain. There was indeed a fortuitous opportunity here, and it was the Fang family's biggest one. "This time, I guarantee that as long as you're lucky enough, you can take as much as you find here. Even if you find the method of refining, you can take it as well. My Fang family will not interfere. The exit is also in the depths, so whether you want to find a fortuitous opportunity or leave, you must go deeper." Fang Wudao clasped his fists at the crowd and said, "That's all I have to say. We'll go first." Fang Wudao led a dozen people and Fang Wuling directly into the depths. When they entered the forest, the previously quiet bamboo forest immediately lit up with streaks of light, followed by the rumbling of thunder. The bamboo seemed to have turned into lightning bamboo, and began to attack the surroundings. It was just that the figures of Fang Wudao and the others had already disappeared. Lightning bamboo? Zichen opened his eyes and saw this scene. His expression changed, and at the same time, his eyes were burning with passion. When he first came here, the bamboo in Fanglin City had left a deep impression on him. Along the way, Zichen had a thought in his mind, which was whether he could take some of the bamboo here and bring it back to breed. Now that he saw the lightning bamboo that was very compatible with his power, Zichen's thought became even stronger. If he brought some of the lightning bamboo back and planted it in his world, what would it be like when it was bred to a certain extent? At this moment, Zichen was tempted. In fact, there were many people who had the same idea as Zichen. In fact, many people had dug up the roots of bamboo in their storage space, and they all wanted to bring it back to breed. Sure enough, as Fang Wudao moved, the others moved as well. Especially those from the Fang clan. They came here not only for fortuitous opportunities, but also for the identity of the clan's successor. Whoever could bring back the true foundation of the Fang clan would become the successor. No one was willing to miss this opportunity. As more and more small teams entered, the commotion in the bamboo forest grew even louder. The nearby green bamboos all lit up, turning into one lightning bamboo after another. However, until now, no lightning bamboo monsters had appeared. No one waited. Everyone stepped into the center. Are we going or not? Shan Kuei asked. Dressed in battle armor, he was also thinking for his young master. Zichen glanced into the distance and said, "Let's go." The group of 6 moved forward and entered the lightning bamboo forest. As soon as they entered, bolts of lightning appeared from all directions and attacked the 6 people approaching. Apart from Zichen, the other people's bodies appeared with a defensive light, blocking the lightning. Zichen allowed the lightning to fall on his body. As the lightning entered his body, a familiar energy appeared and swam in his body, tempering his physical body. Zichen's eyes lit up. After entering the bamboo forest, he finally encountered the greatest opportunity. Chapter 39:14. The power of lightning entered Zichen's body, refining it slightly. Sensing this power, Zichen smiled. To others, this place might be full of danger, but to him, it was a place of opportunity. He walked forward, allowing the surrounding lightning to enter his body and strengthen it. Lan Jiumeng noticed Zichen's abnormality, and a strange expression appeared on her pretty face. There were no lightning bamboo monsters around, so Zichen, who was bathed in lightning, walked to a lightning bamboo. He first used his soul power to scan the surroundings. After confirming that there was no danger, he bent down, stretched out his hands to grab the lightning bamboo, and slowly exerted his strength. The few of them walked to Zichen's side. While they were on guard, they also looked curiously at Zichen as he pulled out the bamboo. Cracks appeared on the ground as the lightning bamboo was uprooted. Because he had deliberately restrained his power, the lightning bamboo was still intact. At this moment, the lightning bamboo was constantly releasing the power of lightning. It was very bright, but in Zichen's perception, the power of lightning contained within the lightning bamboo was quickly dissipating. Soon, the lightning bamboo's power of lightning was completely exhausted, and it became a slightly harder bamboo. Its vitality was still exuberant, but it had lost its lightning attribute. It had just been picked up, and it had already become like this. It was naturally impossible to bring it back and plant it. Seeing the regretful expression on Zichen's face, Fang Wulian said, "I heard that moving the bamboo here requires a great opportunity. It's not something that can be done casually. It's something that can only be chanced upon and not sought." Zichen planted the bamboo that had lost its power of lightning on the ground again, and then buried it. In his perception, the bamboo that had lost its power of lightning seemed to show signs of recovery. Could it be because of this land? Lightning bamboo could only be born here? Let's go. It seems that we are not fated to be together this time. Zichen shook his head. He felt a little regretful, but he could accept it. Not all the opportunities in the world could be his. The 6 of them continued forward. This time, they did not go very far before encountering a bamboo monster. It was a bamboo monster that surged with the power of lightning. Each of its attacks contained a violent might of lightning. Facing this bamboo monster, Zichen stepped forward and shattered its chest with a single punch. Leitang versus Leitang. The winner was Zichen. After the bamboo monster died, Zichen obtained the bamboo joint. The surface of the bamboo joint flashed with lightning. It was the essence left behind by the thunder bamboo monster after it died. For everyone, it was an excellent material for refining weapons. When refining weapons, it could stimulate the lightning attribute. For the Thunder Clan, it was one of the most precious materials. It could greatly enhance their combat strength. This was a good item. Once he brought it back, it would definitely be priceless. You guys focus on defense. I'll collect some materials. Zichen was interested in the bamboo monster here. He planned to stay here for a while. Of course, the others did not have any objections. This place was dangerous, but they were not ordinary. They had the ability to protect themselves. Zichen walked in front. This time, even the ghost retreated. It lay on Shan Ye's shoulder, protected by Shan Ye's power. The bamboo monster appeared in front of them. Lightning energy lingered around it as it charged toward Zichen. Zichen shouted excitedly. With a tap of his foot, he threw out a punch. Lightning circled around his fist and the light it emitted was even more dazzling. The two lightning attacks collided. With a loud bang, the thunder bamboo monster's body exploded in mid-air, leaving behind the purest essence. Before it fell to the ground, Zichen collected it. Then, Zichen continued to punch after punch. The bamboo monster had the lightning attribute. According to common sense, it should be immune to some of the lightning. However, in front of Zichen, it was vulnerable. It was even more vulnerable than the previous bamboo monsters. This situation was suppression. Zichen's lightning energy was of a higher grade. It completely suppressed the bamboo monster. It was like a general against a soldier, a king against a subordinate. All the thunder bamboo monsters that rushed toward Zichen could not last more than one round under Zichen's hands. They were all knocked down with one punch. For the others, this extremely dangerous place was Zichen's paradise. They walked like this for an hour. Zichen kept punching. Not to mention the gains he made, he seemed to be tireless. The energy in his body seemed to be endless. He bathed in lightning, like a thunder god of war. This power is too strong. He has been punching for an hour, but it seems like he hasn't used up any energy. Shan Kuei was shocked. It's the environment here. All of Zichen's energy consumption can be quickly recovered with the help of the surrounding lightning, explained Shan Ya. Continuous attacks naturally consumed a lot of energy. However, the surrounding lightning energy was enough to sustain Zichen's consumption. The lightning that fell on him could temper his body and also replenish his energy consumption. Doesn't that mean that Zichen is invincible here? Fang Wulian's expression changed. Shan Ya continued, in theory, it is. He is not afraid of energy consumption. He is like a steel machine that can exhaust any enemy to death. Because of Zichen's insidiousness, Fang Wudao and Fang Wuling's plan was disrupted. Without cannon fodder, the two of them became cannon fodder in the eyes of others. However, after a short distance, the two of them stopped. The others surrounded them to protect them, fighting the thunder bamboo monsters. These people came prepared with all kinds of powerful techniques. At this moment, they were constantly attacking the thunder bamboo monsters. Fang Wudao stood there, his hands beginning to form a seal. Rays of light flowed from his fingertips, and an item appeared out of thin air. It looked like a seed, about the size of a palm. There were various natural patterns on it, emitting an ancient aura. This was left behind from a long time ago. It was one of the few treasures of the Fang family. Now that the bamboo world had changed, in order to maximize the opportunity, the higher-ups of the Fang family allowed Fang Wudao to bring this item. After the seed appeared, Fang Wudao pointed his finger. The patterns on the seed's surface lit up, and then it trembled slightly. The light on the seed's surface became brighter and brighter. The bamboo world has changed. A new spirit seed has been born here. Fang Wuling's eyes lit up, and he said excitedly. Fang Wudao smiled. After being here for so long, he finally encountered the biggest opportunity. As long as he brought back the new spirit seed, the Fang family would have a second Fang Lin city in a few years. Under the guidance of the ancient seed, the group began to move forward. Along the way, they encountered more and more thunder bamboo monsters. The birth of a spirit seed would definitely be guarded by many thunder bamboo monsters. Looking at the many thunder bamboo monsters in front of them, Fang Wudao and Fang Wuling were very satisfied. Zichen, who had been moving forward, suddenly changed direction. "Are you going the wrong way?" Fang Wulian said from behind, "That is not a straight direction." "That's right. There are many thunder bamboo monsters here." Zichen's voice came from the front. He, who did not know fatigue, naturally wanted to obtain more opportunities in this place. Chapter 39:15. The dazzling purple light streaked forward. Wherever it passed, the lightning bamboos would break apart, and even the lightning bamboos would be split in two. In Zichen's field of vision, a vacuum appeared, with sections of lightning bamboos floating in it. 15 minutes after Zichen changed direction, the number of lightning bamboos in his field of vision increased. Zichen's punch after punch was no longer able to keep up with the speed of the bamboos, so he used his soul weapon. Fang Wulian and the others were still following behind. They had yet to make a move. Zichen flew forward and collected the lightning bamboos. Then, he continued to wave the staff in his hand. Another purple light extended forward. In his field of vision, another vacuum appeared. The more Zichen fought, the more excited he became. In his perception, the lightning energy in this direction was denser, which meant that there would be more lightning bamboos. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Under the guidance of the light seed, Fang Wudao's group advanced toward the spirit seed. Along the way, the lightning bamboos increased in number, giving them great pressure. Right now, everyone was going all out. Fortunately, they were fully prepared. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult to advance. Right at this moment, a person suddenly came from behind. He was the one in charge of bringing up the rear. He came forward and said, "Young master, someone is following us." "Someone?" Fang Wudao's expression changed slightly. He asked, "Who?" "It's second young master. That bastard, he's actually following us." Fang Wuling's long and narrow eyes had a trace of coldness. She had long since wanted to kill Fang Wulian. "They're heading in this direction. The one leading the way is Zichen." The person continued. "They're definitely following us using some kind of secret technique. Let's go kill them now," Fang Wuling said. Fang Wudao shook his head. "The possibility of him following us is not high. Moreover, I've been paying attention before, so it's impossible for them to leave a tracking mark on us." Fang Wudao himself was an expert. When he was careful, no one would be able to leave a tracking mark on him without him noticing. He glanced at the light seed, muttered to himself, and said, "Perhaps it's just a coincidence. Let's avoid them first." With this glowing seed, Fang Wudao changed his direction and no longer followed the seed's guidance. As a result, he missed Zichen and the two of them did not meet directly. After Zichen left, Fang Wudao walked out of the forest. Looking at the mess in front of him, he said in a deep voice, "It seems that they didn't follow us." Their paths were not exactly the same. Otherwise, Zichen would have been able to see the traces left behind by the battle and know of their existence. However, looking at the path ahead, Zichen was walking on a completely unfamiliar path. He was only using brute force to open it. Fang Wuling looked ahead and said, "Even if their vision is different, their goal seems to be the same. That direction is the direction of the spirit seed." A sharp glint flashed across Fang Wudao's eyes. "Although I don't know how he knows about the spirit seed, since he dares to have designs on it, then don't blame me for being impolite. Let's go, let's follow them." This time, Fang Wudao walked behind Zichen. They walked through the messy battlefield. Although they wouldn't be able to obtain anything on the way, they wouldn't encounter any lightning bamboo monsters either. In their eyes, Zichen had taken on the role of cannon fodder, opening up a safe path for them. As the person involved, Zichen didn't know this. He didn't even know that there was a great opportunity waiting for him ahead. He was wholeheartedly focused on killing enemies, hoping to obtain more lightning bamboo joints. These things were truly good things for the Holy Thunder clan. However, the number of enemies on the way was increasing. Zichen, who wasn't afraid of exhausting himself, felt his strength being depleted because he had repeatedly used powerful attacks. A roar suddenly rang out in front of them. An even larger lightning bamboo monster appeared. It should be the Bamboo Monster King. Zichen's eyes lit up with joy. He immediately charged forward. Wherever he went, the small lightning bamboo monsters would be sent flying. Zichen arrived in front of the lightning bamboo monster king and smashed down with his staff. Countless rays of purple light appeared in the world, and a thunderous sound resounded. Boom, boom, boom. 1 staff strike, 2 staff strikes, 3 staff strikes. The lightning bamboo monster king's huge body fell to the ground, leaving behind a light purple bamboo joint. The lightning surging on the bamboo joint was light purple and extremely powerful. There was no need to deliberately refine it. Its grade was already equivalent to a soul weapon. Zichen stepped forward and collected it. He was very satisfied with this harvest. But at this time, Zichen suddenly felt an even purer fluctuation of lightning coming from ahead. The instant he felt this fluctuation, his heart fiercely thumped, as if he felt something attracting him. He looked forward and saw an open area in the center of the bamboo forest. And in the center of that area, there was a bolt of lightning on the ground. What's that? Zichen immediately rushed forward like a ray of light. The lightning bamboo monsters along the way seemed to have gone crazy, attacking Zichen. Zichen didn't dodge. A powerful force circulated around his body, directly sending the surrounding lightning bamboo monsters flying. After arriving at that open area, he clearly saw the bolt of lightning on the ground. It was a bamboo that had just emerged, emitting pure soul power fluctuations. It was still in the state of a sapling. Could this be the lightning bamboo that can reproduce? Zichen became excited. He subconsciously walked forward. At this time, the fluctuations of battle came from behind, and there were also cries of surprise. When Zichen turned around, he saw Lan Jiumeng and the others, fighting and retreating. Other than the lightning bamboo monsters, there were others. They retreated to Zichen's side. The lightning bamboo monsters didn't come forward, as if this was a forbidden area. The lightning bamboo monsters didn't dare to enter, but the others did. Your luck isn't bad. You even found this place. Fang Wudao walked in front, smiling coldly at Zichen. He had already put away the glowing seed. Fang Wuling was next to him. The other party's eyes were filled with undisguised killing intent. Other than that, there were 12 human soul realm cultivators. To be able to reach here, these 12 people were clearly not weak. On the other hand, there were only 6 people on Zichen's side. The only thing that Zichen was glad about was that Lan Jiumeng and the others had maintained their peak combat strength. If you retreat immediately, I can let you live for a while longer, Fang Wudao said indifferently when he saw the spirit seed behind him. He didn't want to affect it. Be careful. Zichen only said this one sentence before he continued forward. Fang Wudao's status in the Fang family was very high, and he was also known as the invincible soul realm in the Fang family. Beside him was an expert like Fang Wuling, but Zichen didn't have any scruples and attacked. With the staff and shield in hand, this was one of his greatest attacks. The patterns on the staff lit up one by one, and the originally black staff turned purple. Chapter 39:16. Fang Wudao did not expect Zichen to take the initiative to attack. This surprised him, but he was even more furious. This was because he, the strongest person of the Fang clan, was being looked down upon by an outsider. Fang Wudao shouted and a light seal flew out. The light seal grew with the wind, looking like a hill. As it spun forward, it caused spatial ripples. This was an extraordinary spirit weapon, one of Fang Wudao's strongest moves. Zichen did not slow down at all. The horrifying aura on the staff grew stronger as it smashed into the light seal. The light seal exploded and the staff image scattered. A strong shock wave spread out in the air. A high-quality spirit weapon was destroyed just like that. However, to the wealthy Fang Wudao, this loss was nothing. His expression did not change as he waved his hand again and a second spirit weapon appeared. This was a spear with images of beasts engraved on it. As Fang Wudao poured his soul energy into it, the beasts seemed to come to life. This was the Tiger-Devouring War Spear. The Tiger-Devouring War Spear was quite famous in the Fang clan. It was a famous spirit weapon and was priceless. These beasts were all ferocious tigers. However, they were not engraved on the spear. Every time the spear killed a tiger, it would devour its soul and seal it in the spear. When the spear swept out, the tiger souls sealed in the spear seemed to awaken. Those scarlet eyes seemed to be able to seize one's soul. Die. Fang Wudao activated the war spear with all his might. A strong aura spread out like a storm. The 12 human souls immediately retreated to the sides. Fang Wuling did not retreat. She remained standing there. Her body emitted light and her clothes fluttered despite the lack of wind. Her eyes stared at Zichen like a cold venomous snake, ready to attack its prey at any moment. Zichen raised the long rod in his hand high up. The thunderbolt strength that was still abundant in his body frantically gathered towards the long rod. In terms of quality, the staff was one of the 100 weapons of the Holy Mountain. Naturally, it was not weak. Now, as the veined patterns lit up, purple light filled the sky and illuminated the surroundings. Zichen smashed down with his staff again, this time with all his strength. A huge crack appeared on the ground, extending all the way into the bamboo forest. Many of the thunder bamboo monsters that were still wandering around the edge of the bamboo forest were torn apart. As the powerful energy surged, Zichen retreated several feet. His face was slightly pale. That attack had consumed a lot of energy. Looking at Fang Wudao in front of him, he had retreated nearly 30 meters. The battle spear in his hand was covered with cracks, and as Fang Wudao gently exerted his strength, the battle spear broke into several pieces. After 2 consecutive attacks, 2 soul weapons were destroyed. Even the rich and overbearing Fang Wudao had a gloomy expression on his face at this moment. It was not because of the spirit weapon, although it was indeed very precious. What he cared about was that he had lost a lot of face here. The 100 soldiers from the sacred mountain truly live up to their reputation. Fang Wudao threw away the broken spear in his hand and said indifferently. Zichen's pupils shrank, and the light shield in his left hand suddenly lit up. He raised the light shield in front of him. A sword light that seemed to materialize suddenly appeared. It was originally aimed at the space between Zichen's eyebrows, but it was blocked by the light shield. Behind him, Fang Wulian saw this scene and angrily shouted, "Bitch, you actually dared to launch a sneak attack." This was Fang Wuling's attack. If not for Zichen's extremely sharp soul power perception, even if he did not die, he would have been seriously injured. Because this attack was no small matter, even if the 100 soldiers' light shield blocked it, there was still a cold aura that entered his body. If it was a normal defense, it would have been penetrated long ago. This was a true killing move, and if it was someone else, they might not be able to block it. The long rod in Zichen's right hand lit up once again. His eyes were filled with coldness. Seeing this scene, Fang Wuling's expression immediately changed, and he was about to withdraw his soul weapon. But it was too late. The staff in Zichen's hand immediately smashed down. Following a purple arc, the staff swept past Fang Wuling's soul weapon. With a bang, his soul weapon shattered into pieces. This was Zichen's attacking method. He was already strong, and after using the 100 soldiers at full strength, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Swish! In the next moment, Zichen's figure disappeared. "Retreat quickly!" Fang Wudao shouted from behind, and then quickly rushed forward with another soul weapon in his hand. Fang Wuling sensed danger and retreated. Zichen's staff was blocked by Fang Wudao, and a powerful aura spread out in all directions. Following that, Zichen's figure flashed, and he appeared beside Fang Wudao, and struck again. Strike after strike, Zichen continued to circle around Fang Wudao and attack. During this period of time, the spirit weapons of both sides were constantly clashing. Fang Wudao's soul weapon didn't shatter, but he was already entangled by Zichen, and couldn't get rid of him. Zichen used the vibration fighting technique, and with every strike, a trace of vibration energy would enter Fang Wudao's body through the soul weapon. Fang Wudao, who was known as the strongest in the Fang clan, was finding it harder and harder to block. Slowly, his speed slowed down. Zichen's staff landed one last time, and the weapon passed through the opponent's soul weapon defense, and directly hit Fang Wudao's chest. During this time, a ray of light shot out from his robe, and it was the magic spirit robe. With a bang, Fang Wudao's body flew out, and he landed on 100 meters away. After landing on the ground, Fang Wudao coughed out a mouthful of blood. As for the third soul weapon in his hand, it was also directly broken. The publicly recognized strongest person in the Fang clan was defeated by Zichen just like that. However, Zichen wasn't satisfied with his results. He wasn't afraid of anyone in the same realm. If it wasn't for the magic spirit robe on Fang Wudao's body, he wouldn't just be coughing out blood. This was the first time Fang Wulian saw how strong Zichen was. At this moment, his eyes were wide open, and he was shocked. He had been acting all these years, and although he hated Fang Wudao, he knew how strong he was. He was the strongest person in the Fang clan, and the strongest person in the human soul realm. However, he didn't expect him to be so weak in front of Zichen. "You're courting death." Fang Wuling, who was retreating, looked at the injured Fang Wudao, and rushed towards Zichen as if he had lost his mind. "Come back!" Fang Wudao shouted, but Fang Wuling didn't stop. Zichen's expression was cold. He took a step forward and swung his staff down again. This time, there seemed to be more patterns on the staff. A resplendent purple light burst out, and a tyrannical aura surged out. Zichen's staff smashed down. This staff contained an unstoppable force. Fang Wuling's soul weapon was instantly shattered. Zichen's attack didn't decrease in power and landed on Fang Wuling's body. Her body was also sent flying. Although the magic spirit robe blocked most of Zichen's attacks for her, she was still seriously injured when she landed on the ground. The first and second strongest experts of the Fang clan were defeated by Zichen one after another. When the other 12 saw this, they immediately stepped forward and protected the two behind them. Fang Wudao staggered to his feet. He glanced at Zichen and said coldly, "If it wasn't for the advantage of your soul weapon, you wouldn't be my match." Zichen couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with him. If it wasn't for the magic spirit robe, he would have already been beaten to a pulp. Suddenly, a grin appeared on Fang Wudao's face. Zichen had a bad feeling. He immediately turned around and saw a person appear where the thunder bamboo spirit seed was. It was a black-robed man. It was the guy who had failed to attack Fang Wuling twice. "You're courting death." Chapter 39:17. This was the only way Zichen could think of to stop him. However, the moment the staff left his hand, Zichen felt that something was wrong. In front of him, the 12 people who came with Fang Wudao actually attacked at the same time. Their movements were uniform, and the way they attacked was also different, as if they were using some kind of joint attack. Zichen, who felt that something was wrong, immediately held up the light shield in his hand, and a strong light bloomed. With a loud bang, the ground shook violently. The 12 attacks landed on the light shield at the same time, and the strong impact forced Zichen to retreat. During this time, there were sharp forces that wanted to break through the light shield and invade Zichen's body. The staff hit the ground in the distance, and with a loud bang, a huge pit appeared. The black-robed man dodged Zichen's attack, and at the same time took away the thunder spirit seed. His concealment technique was very clever, and he did not deliberately target Zichen, so Zichen did not notice it immediately. When Fang Wudao's expression changed, the other party had already succeeded. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lan Jiumeng's attack arrived, but her and Shan Ye's reactions were too slow, and the following attacks were all dodged by the other party. With the spirit seed in hand, the black-robed man was ready to leave. At this moment, Zichen's body suddenly flew backward and landed not far from the black-robed man. The staff turned into a stream of light and fell into Zichen's hand. Holding the black staff, Zichen looked at the black-robed man and said indifferently, "You want to leave without leaving anything behind?" As soon as he finished speaking, Zichen's body disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already beside the black-robed man. This was the footwork of the combat arts, and at close range, it could increase one's speed to a great extent. When he was in front of the other party, Zichen had already put away his staff and shield, and punched at the other party. The black-robed man dodged, and the fist missed his shoulder. A light flashed under Zichen's feet, and he attacked again. The black-robed man held onto the spirit seed and continued to dodge. However, at such a close distance, it was clearly impossible for him to avoid all of the Thunder Combat Arts attacks. Just as Zichen and the black-robed man were exchanging blows, Fang Wudao and Fang Wuling also led their men to attack. If they could decide the winner and the loser, as well as life and death, they would be very happy. Shan Kuei shouted and activated the armor on his body. He took the initiative to move forward, blocking most of the attacks for the people behind him. Shan Yai's soul weapon appeared and whistled forward. Her target was Fang Wuling. She had long found that girl an eyesore. Looking at Shan Yai's strange soul weapon, a trace of disdain appeared in Fang Wuling's eyes. Her hand flashed again, and another soul weapon appeared. Coming from a large clan, it was only natural for her to have a lot of soul weapons. Furthermore, they were all of high quality. As the two soul weapons clashed, Fang Wuling's soul weapon once again shattered into pieces, while Shan Yai's soul weapon did not slow down at all and struck her body. With a bang, Fang Wuling coughed up blood and was sent flying. In terms of ranking among the 100 weapons, Shan Yai's pure miracle stone ranked higher than Zichen's black staff. Furthermore, Shan Yai herself was very powerful. The supreme power that she had comprehended was like the nemesis of all the soul power in the world. Fang Wuling, who was already injured, became even more injured. The disdain in her eyes had now turned into shock. She, who was so powerful, was actually defeated again. Defeated by an unknown woman? At this moment, she saw the woman in front of her suddenly disappear. In the next moment, a soft sound came from the side. It was the subordinate she had brought, his head separated from his body. Shan Yai stood behind the subordinate, a unique soul light flickering on her body. That soul light made Fang Wuling feel a strong sense of danger. Who exactly is she? Just as Fang Wuling was shocked, Fang Wudao was also sent flying by a powerful force. This young master of the Fang clan, who was known as the #1 person in the human soul realm, only had half of his soul weapon left. His eyes were wide open, filled with disbelief. Being suppressed by Zichen was already sullen enough, but after all, Zichen was an existence who had turned the entire sacred mountain into a foul atmosphere. Furthermore, he had a powerful 100 weapons, so he could accept his defeat. But now, his soul weapon was actually destroyed by a stinky girl. Furthermore, the opponent's strength was extremely tyrannical, and did not seem to be much weaker than Zichen. Previously, he had only paid attention to Zichen's information. He did not pay attention to the two by Zichen's side who were clearly just flower vases. The blue sword that belonged to Lan Jiumeng was like a bolt of blue lightning, sweeping past Fang Wudao and piercing through the body of the person behind him. Fang Wudao had the magic spirit robe to survive, but the others did not. Fang Wulian was also making a move, but his strength was clearly much weaker than the others. He could not even compare to Shan Kuei. However, relying on the magic spirit robe on his body, he fought the enemy. Although he could not kill the enemy could not do anything to him. On the other side, Zichen was already fighting with the black-robed person. Under the effects of the martial arts, the other party could not escape even if he wanted to. He could only dodge and attack again and again. During this time, Zichen's attacks landed on the other party's body unhurriedly. Wisps of inconspicuous tremor force gathered towards the other party's body, then hid within the other party's body, waiting for a full explosion. Shan Yai's figure moved again, rapidly moving towards the second enemy. The soul weapon flew back into her hand, and she attacked again. Another human soul had been killed. There was almost no suspense at all. Xiu'er's attack was also very sharp. That special soul weapon of hers blocked Fang Wuling's following attack. Fang Wudao switched to a new soul weapon and fought with Lan Jiumeng. Clearly, he wanted to delay the other party. Otherwise, these people would probably kill all the people he brought with him. Even so, the situation of the battle was still changing. His people were either injured or dead. Zichen's gaze gradually turned cold. After the last punch, he shouted, "Explode." The tremor force that had entered the black-robed person's body earlier completely exploded. The black-robed person's body swayed, and blood continuously spurted out of his mouth. His strength became unstable. The staff in Zichen's hand appeared again, and the patterns on it immediately lit up. The black staff turned purple as it swept out. The black-robed person's black robes lit up with a light, forming a protective barrier. It looked like a magic spirit robe from the Fang family, but its defense was not as strong as the magic spirit robe. When the purple light approached, it was instantly torn apart. Following that, Zichen saw the other party's appearance for the first time. His expression could not help but change, feeling that they were familiar. At that moment, a cold light flashed in the black-robed person's bloodshot eyes as he coughed out blood. "Didn't you want it? Here." He tossed the thunder spirit seed to the side. As for the black-robed person, he quickly retreated, clearly wanting to escape. Zichen did not chase after him. Instead, he flew towards the spirit seed. After all, this was what he cared about the most. He grabbed the spirit seed and allowed the black-robed person to escape. How could the black-robed person's life and death compare to this spirit seed? Chapter 39:18. With a loud boom, energy waves spread out in all directions. The spirit seed exploded in mid-air and shattered into pieces. The lightning that was originally coiling around it was extinguished. Zichen's eyes immediately turned cold. He looked towards the forest, but there was no trace of the black-robed man. He had run away very quickly. Turning his head again, Zichen saw that Fang Wudao and the others had also left. It was obvious that they had already discussed with the black-robed man. They did not take the 3 corpses on the ground with them. It was probably too late. In this battle, Zichen had won strongly. He had suppressed Fang Wudao and Fang Wuling. Even the black-robed man was not his match. Lan Jiumeng and Shan Huaye could also suppress Fang Wudao and Fang Wuling. There was no doubt about the battle strength of this team. But now, everyone was clearly in a bad mood. Shan Huaye walked to Zichen's side and bowed her head. "I'm sorry." Their attention had been on the battle, so the black-robed man had taken advantage of the situation and caused the spirit seed to be lost. Now, the spirit seed had been destroyed. They had missed such a great opportunity. The depressed Zichen turned to look at Shan Huaye. She lowered her head in shame. The others were also very ashamed and regretful. Zichen smiled. "What nonsense are you talking about? It has nothing to do with you. I was careless. I should have known that the other party was hiding in the dark." Although he said so, they still could not let it go, especially Shan Huaye and Lan Jiumeng. They knew very well how important the spirit seed was to Zichen. This kind of opportunity is hard to come by. It is indeed a pity that we did not get it. But this is not a bad thing. At least Fang Wudao did not get it, right? Zichen smiled and went forward to pat Shan Huaye's shoulder. "Don't think too much. We still have to go deeper. If you worry too much, it will be dangerous." Shan Huaye nodded. Zichen looked at the many lightning bamboo monsters outside the forest and said with a smile, "It seems that this kind of thing is the most reliable. You guys stay here and recover first, I'll go and get some loot." After the previous battle, Zichen had expended quite a bit of energy. However, as long as he entered the forest, all his energy consumption was nothing to him. He could absorb the lightning around him at any time and use it to recover. No one knew what dangers lurked in the depths, so no one dared to be careless. Even though they had not expended a lot of energy in the previous battle, they were still recovering at this moment, striving to not consume even the slightest bit of energy. Fang Wulian closed his eyes, but he quickly opened them again because he couldn't calm down and because he was too excited. He had originally placed his bet on Zichen because he had no other choice. He did not expect Zichen to be so strong. As for Shan Huaye and Lan Jiumeng, these 2 existences, to Fang Wulian, were even more pleasantly surprised. Unexpectedly, their combat strength was also so tyrannical. This time, that dog couple had suffered a great loss here. It must be known that those soul weapons could all be called names, each of them extremely valuable. Yet, they were all destroyed here. After losing so many soul weapons, the two's combat strength would naturally be affected. This time, he had really made a huge profit. In the following journey into the depths, he was also full of confidence. After a quarter of an hour, Zichen returned from the forest. Apart from his gains, he had also recovered his energy consumption. He arrived in front of the 3 dead human soul realm experts and crouched down to search their bodies, obtaining their gains. To be able to reach this place, killing along the way, their gains were indeed not small. However, the lightning bamboo that Zichen cared about the most was not much in quantity. Lan Jiyu Meng and the others had already recovered and were in peak condition. Zichen said, "Let's continue." As before, Zichen led the way in front, while the others conserved their strength and followed behind. In the bamboo forest, Fang Wudao's expression was extremely unsightly. Beside him, Fang Wuling was also silent. With 3 dead, there were still 9 people fighting with the surrounding lightning bamboo monsters. The black-robed man who had fled earlier had also joined up with them. He had fought Zichen head-on, and his black robe had been completely destroyed, causing him to be injured. However, at this moment, his injuries had completely healed, and his recovery speed was even faster than Fang Wudao's. That human called Zichen is very strong. If we didn't use the spirit seed to attract his attention, none of us would have been able to leave. The black-robed man was the first to break the silence. It seemed that even he felt that the previous method was not appropriate, so he found an excuse for himself. Fang Wudao, who was already in a bad mood, heard this and his expression became even more gloomy. He said with some dissatisfaction, "Then there's no need to destroy it. Even if Zichen takes it away, as long as we kill Zichen afterwards, the spirit seed will naturally be taken away." Hearing Fang Wudao's dissatisfaction, the black-robed man said, "Who's going to kill? Are you going to kill him or me? If you and I had the strength, would we have run away in such a sorry state? I can." At this moment, an indifferent voice suddenly sounded, "Luo Ken, you were reckless this time." Another black-robed man appeared from the darkness. After the other party appeared, the black-robed man called Luo Ken's expression changed. Fang Wudao and Fang Wuling both clasped their fists towards the other party. "You failed twice, and even destroyed the spirit seed this time. Luo Ken, you've really disappointed me," the black-robed man said with dissatisfaction. Luo Ken clasped his fists and said, "I was careless. I didn't think of this problem. My original intention was that if we couldn't get it, we definitely couldn't let anyone else get it. This is the importance of foresight. Without foresight, how can you be a qualified leader?" The black-robed man's gaze looked towards the depths. "We're about to reach our destination. You guys open a path for me. I'll go and see what's going on." Seeing that the other party no longer pursued the matter, Luo Ken immediately nodded and clasped his fists again. The black-robed man looked at Fang Wudao and said, "I'll leave the rest to you. Don't worry. This time, I'll definitely bring back the Fang clan's heritage." Fang Wudao's eyes flashed with light. "After we return, the Fang clan will be under my control." The black-robed man emphasized, "Not you, but us." After about 10 miles, one giant lightning bamboo monster after another appeared in their field of vision. These were all king-level existences guarding this area. "It's here. Open a path for me." The black-robed man looked ahead and said indifferently. With Fang Wudao as the leader, the group immediately attacked. Powerful energy surged, and a huge crack appeared between the lightning bamboo monster kings. This crack seemed to shatter the void, leading to another space. Shua. The black-robed man's figure flashed and disappeared. In another direction, Zichen, who was also moving forward, also arrived at this area. Seeing the lightning bamboo monster kings blocking the way, Zichen's eyes lit up. To others, this was a powerful enemy, but to him, this was an unlimited resource. Chapter 39:19. Boom. Above the light shield, a bright light blossomed. Zichen blocked the lightning that was descending from the sky. Then, the staff in his hand shone brightly. A ray of purple light soared into the sky and shot toward the lightning bamboo monster kings. Previously, Zichen had encountered one, but he had only used 3 staff strikes to kill it. As the stick descended, The lightning bamboo monster king's body merely swayed slightly before neutralizing the power of his attack. How is this possible? Zichen's expression changed. Wasn't this defense a bit too strong? Right at this moment, the lightning in the sky once more descended. It was like a chain of lightning that pierced through Zichen's head. The light on the light shield began to fade. The protective light shield also began to distort. This isn't a single strand of power. It's a combination of power. Zichen's expression changed once more. He finally discovered the problem. Just like Fang Wudao's 12 subordinates, their power could be combined. Zichen borrowed the force to retreat. At the same time, he carefully looked ahead. He saw that the lightning bamboo monster kings were standing side by side. They seemed to have formed a circle, protecting something. Could it be that the secret of the bamboo sea world lies in here? Zichen had such a guess. Everyone, let's work together and see what's inside. Zichen ordered. Then, holding his staff, he once more advanced. At the same time, Lan Jiumeng and the others also used powerful attacks. One after another, their attacks landed on the lightning bamboo monster kings. Such terrifying power, and even the 300 weapons, was still unable to kill a single lightning bamboo monster king. Instead, a gap appeared next to the lightning bamboo monster kings. It was as if a spatial gate had opened, emitting dazzling light. Seeing that gap, Zichen's expression changed. He didn't know what was going on, so he didn't immediately enter. Right at this moment, the gap began to shrink. Don't hold back. Continue attacking. The previously hesitant Zichen immediately flew forward. You all wait here. I'll go in first to see what's going on. Zichen entered the gap. In the next moment, the gap disappeared. After entering through the gap, the countless bolts of lightning disappeared, and so did the lightning bamboo monsters. What appeared in Zichen's field of vision was a bamboo that extended straight into the sky. However, it was too tall, as if it reached into the clouds. Its peak could not be seen. It was also very thick, like a wide and thick wall. This should be the core of the bamboo sea world, and this towering bamboo should be the true king of the bamboo sea world. This was the biggest secret of the bamboo sea world. In addition to this bamboo, Zichen also felt a strange aura. This aura felt familiar to him, but he did not know where he had seen it before. At this moment, he saw a black-robed man standing in front of the bamboo king. Energy was constantly flowing out of the bamboo king's body and being absorbed by the black-robed man. He was devouring bamboo king's power. It's the soul-devouring clan. A ray of light flashed through Zichen's mind as he cried out in alarm. He had always felt that the other party was somewhat familiar, but he couldn't recall who it was. Only after seeing the other party devour his soul power did he realize who it was. This was the first time he encountered the soul-devouring clan after leaving the Card Tower world. Zichen's exclamation startled the other party. The black-robed man turned around. After seeing Zichen, he smiled coldly and said, I haven't killed you yet, but you actually delivered yourself to my doorstep. You're the first to rush to your death. I really didn't expect the soul-devouring clan to appear here. It seems that the Fang clan has secretly colluded with you. Zichen walked forward. The soul-devouring clan existed in this world, but there weren't many of them. Just like in the Card Tower world, once they met, both sides would fight to the death. It seems that you have some understanding of my clan. This is all the more reason why I can't let you go. A black light flew out from the black-robed man's body and instantly turned into a soul-devouring beast, pouncing towards Zichen. A tyrannical aura of soul power surged over. In Zichen's hand, the patterns on the long rod lit up again. He looked at the incoming soul-devouring beast and said indifferently, I'm afraid you don't know how I made my fortune in this world. As the rod fell, purple light flickered and the soul-devouring beast's body directly collapsed. The rod shadow's power didn't diminish and continued to move forward, aiming directly at the black-robed man's head. The other party raised his palm, and a black soul light circulated in his palm. Along with a boom, the rod shadow directly collapsed. A black long rod appeared in each of Zichen's hands. They looked exactly the same. As the two merged, The patterns on the black long rod immediately turned purple. This was a powerful attack of martial arts, and it was directly used by Zichen. The rod fell. The entire space seemed to have begun to distort. This rod carried with it a powerful force. Seeing Zichen's rod, the other party snorted. His hands quickly formed a seal, and a soul power circulated in the sky, forming a complicated pattern, blocking above his head. With a boom, the pattern instantly collapsed, and Zichen's rod was also blocked by the other party. Zichen was very surprised to be able to block the attack of hundreds of soldiers. At this moment, a black light flashed in front of him, and the black-robed man actually rushed towards him. This made Zichen very surprised, but he was also very happy. He was even more unafraid of close combat. Therefore, his figure flashed and rushed forward. The two of them collided. Zichen's fist hit the other party's chest, and the black-robed man's fist also landed in between Zichen's eyebrows. This was a strong collision, and the two of them flew back more than 10 feet. Zichen shook his head. The power wasn't weak, and his head was a little dizzy. Looking at the black-robed man in front of him, he directly took his punch and didn't fall. Obviously, the other party's physical body wasn't weak either. Therefore, they continued. The two of them were like two meteorites, and once again collided. Powerful shockwaves spread in all directions, but they were still intact. After two collisions, Zichen had a better understanding of the black-robed man's power. Therefore, he smiled, and his eyes lit up. It was the light of a hunter who saw a prey. Zichen's physical body was so strong, and after mastering combat skills, there weren't many who dared to fight him head-on. This was a rare opponent. Therefore, the two of them continued to exchange blows. Sometimes, Zichen would punch the other party's temple, and the black-robed man would roll on the ground. After the other party got up, he would kick Zichen, who was rushing towards him, away. They were truly evenly matched. At the very least, that was the case for the moment. Just like this, the two of them exchanged blows until they were both panting, and their strength was not small. Zichen looked at the black-robed man in front of him and smiled faintly. Your strength is not bad, and your physical body isn't weak either. Fighting with you is quite enjoyable, but this is the end. Zichen snapped his fingers. Explode. Chapter 39:20. Fat. The black-robed man began to cough up blood. The power in his body became extremely unstable, and his aura weakened. However, he did not die, which showed how tenacious his vitality was. Zichen smiled. The tremor fighting technique did not disappoint him. The other party half knelt on the ground with blood flowing out from the corners of his mouth. He raised his head and looked at Zichen. What a strange method. I clearly noticed it earlier, but I didn't expect to still fall for it. Zichen said, it's not a loss for you to die in my hands. There aren't many people in the human soul realm who can fight with me like this. Is that so? The black-robed man suddenly laughed, and his eyes were somewhat inexplicable. I should be the one saying that. You're the first human soul realm to make me vomit so much blood, and you should also be the last. The black-robed man stood up, and at the same time, a devouring power appeared on his body. Behind him, a pure soul power immediately flew out from the Bamboo King's body. The soul power entered the other party's body, and the previously unstable power gradually stabilized. His injuries were also recovering, and his consumption was also recovering. Seeing the other party's injuries recover at a speed visible to the naked eye, Zichen's eyes were filled with shock. The black-robed man smiled. Since you know that I'm from the soul-devouring clan, you should know of our soul-devouring divine ability. Under such circumstances, I'm invincible. Zichen's expression changed, and he was extremely shocked. He did not know that the soul-devouring clan had such a divine ability. He only knew that those soul-devouring beasts could devour the lives of humans, but he did not know that they could even devour the lives of plants. This was troublesome. The black-robed man was in this place, just like how he was in the bamboo forest. He was truly invincible. Before you die, do you have anything to say? The black-robed man smiled and said, or rather, you haven't had your fill yet. Let's continue. Zichen said, if that's the case, then I want to know the reason. What reason? The black-robed man asked. Why is the Fang family willing to open this world? Even if this world has become uncontrollable, the opportunities inside still exist. Why are they willing to share them? Zichen asked the question in his heart. The black-robed man could not help but laugh. You seem quite smart, but I didn't expect you to be a fool. Do you think the Fang clan is doing this out of kindness? Then why don't you take a look and see how many people have made it here? There's no such thing as kindness. It's just that the Fang clan needs cannon fodder, but they can't bear to part with their own people, so they found these cannon fodder from outside. It's true that there are opportunities here, but how many people have obtained them? Didn't they all die? Zichen shook his head and said, it's not the same. Almost everyone who came here has a backer. If everyone dies, how will the Fang clan explain it to their families? Explain? The black-robed man laughed disdainfully. If everyone dies, and only Fang Wulian and Fang Wuling return, and the Fang clan's Bamboo Sea world is destroyed, do you think there is still a need to explain this matter? Zichen said, even if you don't explain, the other forces will still hold a grudge in their hearts. Even if they don't say it on the surface, they will secretly make things difficult for the Fang family. Why bother? The black-robed man sneered, you're too naive. The people who came this time are all elites from other clans. After they die this time, those clans will lose a generation of inheritance. With one generation less, do you think they still have a future? Do you think they still have the strength to make things difficult? Zichen's expression changed. There's a saying, those who follow me prosper, those who oppose me perish. Have you heard of it? The black-robed man laughed. Soon, there will only be one force left in this area. The black-robed man told Zichen a huge secret. The Fang clan had made a huge move this time, and all the forces were chess pieces on the chessboard. The real mastermind, besides the Fang clan, should also be the shadow of the Soul Gobbling clan. Once the chess game was over, those major forces would either submit or disappear. The reason why the black-robed man dared to tell Zichen this secret was because he was sure that Zichen would not be able to leave alive. He had absolute confidence in his battle strength. Zichen said with a smile, thank you for telling me, but I'm sorry to tell you that I don't plan to die yet. The black-robed man waved his hand and said casually, I know that no one is willing to die like this, so I'll give you some time to delay your recovery. This was a difficult opponent, but also a powerful one. Zichen did not dare to be careless. He waved his hand, and 9 holy talismans appeared in front of him. They were the ghost spirit holy talismans. Previously, he deliberately delayed because he wanted to recover, but at the same time, it was also because Zichen had a certain level of confidence in himself, especially in the ghost spirit holy talismans. Once this talisman was used, it could often determine life and death in an instant. The holy talisman shattered, and little ghosts appeared one after another. They rotated, forming a talisman array, and flew toward the black-robed man. Holy talismans, interesting. The black-robed man smiled faintly and waved his hand. A sharp attack landed on the little ghosts. The little ghosts' bodies twisted, but did not dissipate. The smile on the black-robed man's face faded a little. He punched again, and the little ghosts trembled, but did not dissipate. He did not have the chance to attack a third time. The little ghosts had entered his sea of consciousness. The black-robed man's face changed greatly. Zichen's voice suddenly sounded in the black-robed man's ear. He instantly approached and punched. With a loud bang, the black-robed man was sent flying by Zichen. His body began to cough up blood in mid-air. If it was an ordinary enemy, Zichen would not continue to attack after using the ghost spirit holy talismans. However, this black-robed man was different. He brought a strong threat to Zichen, so Zichen did not dare to be careless. With the black staff in hand, Zichen attacked with all his strength again. Purple light bloomed, and the black-robed man's body was sent flying again. Zichen was like a shadow, and every attack was full of strength. He had already consumed a lot of his strength, and now it increased again. However, Zichen did not dare to hold back. He attacked again and again. Purple light bloomed continuously, and a thunderous sound rang out one after another. It was deafening. Until his strength was exhausted, Zichen attacked a total of 11 times, and every time he attacked with all his strength. With the Ghost Spirit Holy Talisman, Zichen's means could fight against an Earth Soul Realm expert. It was hard to imagine that he used all his strength to deal with an enemy in the human soul realm. The black-robed man's bright black robe had long become tattered and had lost its defensive function. He fell to the ground, motionless, as if he had lost his soul and was dead. Zichen let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, nothing unexpected happened. The battle was over. Chapter 39:21. Zichen had just taken a few steps forward when he suddenly stopped. He cautiously stared ahead, a trace of shock gradually appearing in his eyes. A bright light flew out from the bamboo king in front of him, heading straight for the black-robed man. The black-robed man stood up again. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth, his robes were tattered, and he looked very miserable. However, his aura was growing stronger. Not only did he not die, he was even better off. Your attack is not bad. If it was somewhere else, perhaps I would really be dead. But here, I am invincible. The black-robed man smiled coldly at Zichen and said, I see that you have used up all your strength. Do you still want to stall for time? I can give you time. After all, I need some time to recover to my peak. This was the most difficult opponent that Zichen had ever faced. He, who was already exhausted, did not say anything and directly used the recovery technique. Flames ignited around his body, and his endless potential began to be stimulated. Directly devouring this bamboo king that can't resist is indeed meaningless. I'll just use you as an appetizer. After killing you, I'll eat it. The black-robed man smiled faintly and said, use whatever means you have. Sensing the power of recovery, Zichen did not hesitate and once again activated the black staff. At the same time, a staff appeared in his left hand, which was formed from energy. The two combined, and the soul weapon began to tremble. A powerful aura surged out. The staff fell, and the world suddenly brightened. The black-robed man's body flew backwards again, and blood streaked across the sky. The black-robed man laughed, not bad, interesting. Let's continue. After rolling on the ground and standing up again, he found that Zichen had actually put away the black staff. He smiled and asked, are you resigned to your fate? During this time, energy constantly flew out from the bamboo king and was forcibly absorbed by the black-robed man. Mysterious and unfathomable. Resigned to his fate was impossible. Zichen, whose body was burning with flames, reached out his hand and drew in the air. The tip of the brush bloomed, and Zichen used the heaven and earth brush. This was his strongest move. If this move didn't work, then he would really die here today. A crack appeared, and the entire space seemed to be split into two, extending forward. The smile on the black-robed man's face froze. He felt a sense of danger. He let out a loud shout as he rapidly made a series of hand seals with both hands. Countless soul lights converged in front of him, forming the head of a beast. It looked like a soul-devouring beast. It opened its bloody mouth and pounced forward. Whoosh! When the soul-devouring beast's head met Zichen's attack, it was instantly split into two. Then, the light continued forward and swept past the black-robed man's body. Boundless black light suddenly erupted from the other party's body. However, the other party's body did not split into two as Zichen had expected. Zichen's expression changed. He had actually failed. He took a step forward, and the earth trembled. Another stroke descended. He clearly felt that this stroke was strenuous. The power that had just been restored by the recovery technique was once again consumed by him. Another stroke was drawn forward. The power was slightly weaker than the previous one, but it was still terrifying. It had the power to cut through space. The black-robed man stood in place without moving, but the hand seals in his hand were faster. A huge black vortex appeared behind him, and a torrent of power flew out from the bamboo king's body and was absorbed by him. Zichen had consumed a lot of energy, and the other party's injuries were extremely serious. At the moment, he was maintaining his life. It could be said that both of them were wearing each other down. It was just a matter of who could last until the last moment. Zichen's attack arrived and landed on the black-robed man's body. The black light continued to bloom. The black-robed man's body swayed, but this time, he was still not cut open. Chen, who was in front, also swayed. He really felt the danger. He clenched his teeth and coughed out a mouthful of blood. The blood condensed in front of him and did not dissipate. Chen's hand mysteriously touched the blood and made another stroke. In addition to his own power, there was also his own blood essence. After the stroke landed, Chen's body fell. This time, he really had no power. His face was as pale as paper, and he resigned himself to fate. The blood-red attack flew forward rapidly. The black-robed man, who was also unstable, laughed loudly when he saw Chen fall. It seems that the one who will die is still you. He was confident that he could block the power of Chen's stroke. Moreover, he was full of confidence. The hand seals in his hand flew up again, and the speed at which he devoured the Bamboo King's energy became even faster. The blood-red stroke approached. The black-robed man's complacent laughter resounded through the entire space. Chen was already in despair. Suddenly, the black-robed man's laughter came to an abrupt end. The blood-red stroke directly pierced through his body. It was split into two. The weak and despairing Chen widened his eyes as he looked in front of him in disbelief. The moment his attack landed, he saw the energy surging out of the Bamboo King's body suddenly stop. After losing the supply of energy, the black-robed man was no longer able to maintain his life in danger. Therefore, he was no longer able to block Chen's attack. Chen was stunned. He did not know what was going on. The black-robed man slowly turned his body. He did not dare to make the slightest movement because he was worried that his body would be split into two. "It's you, you bastard. You still have consciousness," the black-robed man said. However, he no longer had the strength to shout loudly. His life force was fading away, and death was imminent. A face appeared on the Bamboo King's body. It glanced at the black-robed man and said, "I still have a trace of consciousness left. I can't stop your devouring, but I can stop it for a moment. You bastard." The black-robed man's facial features began to distort. He was extremely furious, but his voice was still weak and powerless. This was like the straw that broke the camel's back. It was fine as long as it came in time. At this moment, the black-robed man's anger was like a torrential wave. However, it was useless. In his current state, he was no longer able to devour the Bamboo King's power. Although the Bamboo King was unable to affect him, he clearly did not want to die here. He planned to escape. After all, he was from the soul-devouring clan. As long as his soul was not destroyed, he would be able to be reborn. Right at this moment, he heard a sharp whistling sound coming from behind him. When he turned his head, he saw a ray of light arriving before him. It was Chen's sacred talisman brush. He directly threw it out. The tip of the brush was like an arrow. It directly pierced into the black-robed man's forehead. His soul that did not have time to escape dissipated. The brush mysteriously pierced into his forehead. The black-robed man's body fell backwards. When he landed, his body separated. He was dead. He could not be more dead. Chen stood in the distance. At this moment, the flames of recovery were still burning on his body. The battle had lasted for so long. Although he had won, it was only by luck. If others were to enter, it would be a complete harvest. Chapter 39:22. I have already sealed this place. You don't have to be nervous, no one can enter. At this moment, Bamboo King's voice sounded. It had already sensed the abnormality in Chen's body. Chen looked at Bamboo King and said weakly, "Thank you for saving my life. If it wasn't for the other party's timely action, Chen would have really died. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it was saving his life. You don't have to be so wary of me. I have already reached the critical moment of evolution and don't have the strength to make a move. Otherwise, the two of you wouldn't have been able to make it here," Bamboo King said again with a very sincere attitude. Evolution? Chen looked at Bamboo King. "Are you evolving?" "Sort of." Bamboo King sighed, but there was too much helplessness in its tone. Chen also fell silent. The flames around his body were still burning, but this time, he didn't overdraw his potential because it would cause great damage to his body. The other party didn't have killing intent, at least not yet. I want to evolve, but they won't allow it. They even want to kill me. As if to show its sincerity, Bamboo King took the initiative to explain. Zichen asked, "The they you're talking about are from the Fang family?" "Yes." "They know of your existence?" "Yes." This made Zichen even more surprised. Since they know of your existence, then your evolution is naturally a good thing for them. Why would they stop you from evolving? Evolving would make one stronger, and for this world, the benefits would naturally be greater. This was the foundation of the Fang family, so logically speaking, they shouldn't stop it. Bamboo King said, "Because in order to evolve, I need to take back all my power, and all the life forms in the periphery will wither. This world will become desolate, and not a single blade of grass will grow. Only when I successfully evolve can everything come back to life. It's just that they used some unknown method to seal me here, making it impossible for me to control those life forms. Moreover, in this place, I can't take back all my power, so I can't evolve. That human who can devour life forms came in to devour my power." This was the reason why Bamboo King was willing to help Zichen. Because compared to the black-robed man, Zichen at least didn't show any intention of destroying it. Most importantly, Zichen didn't know how to devour, so he wasn't that dangerous. At this moment, Zichen seemed to have understood the Fang clan's intention. They sent so many cannon fodders here to die while their goal was to obtain the fortune in the depths. The Bamboo Monarch was clearly one of them. Once the Bamboo King was killed, the green bamboos in the periphery would be completely preserved. Although this was like killing the goose that laid the golden eggs, it was still better than the entire world withering and not a single blade of grass growing. "I saved you this time because I hope that you can help me with something, or rather, promise me something," Bamboo King said again as he looked at the silent Zichen. "What is it?" Zichen asked. The Bamboo King said, "Take me away from here." "Take you away?" Zichen glanced around. There might be some kind of seal here that could cut off Bamboo King's connection to the outside world, but once Zichen took him away, when Bamboo King regained control of this world, would he still be able to leave alive? One must know that the reason why the Fang clan came to this place was because the world had become uncontrollable. Why couldn't it be controlled? Naturally, the Bamboo King was resisting. As if sensing Zichen's soul fluctuation, the Bamboo King said, "Not everything, but my soul. When I sensed that the Fang clan was targeting me, I used my own power to change the situation of this world. Now, I can no longer advance in this world, so I can only leave." Originally, Earth Soul Realm experts could enter this world, and it was those Earth Soul Realm experts that suppressed the Bamboo King and isolated him here. However, after the Bamboo King used a secret technique, the rules of this world changed. It was as if the door had become lower, and Earth Soul Realm experts could no longer enter. Zichen understood the Bamboo King's meaning and was naturally very happy. Because taking away the Bamboo King meant taking away the core of the Bamboo Sea world. After a few years, he would definitely be able to cultivate a second Bamboo Sea world. Previously, he had lost the Lightning Soul Seed, but now, Zichen had obtained the core of the Bamboo Sea world. However, before that, there were some things that Zichen had to make clear. "My name is Zichen, and I am not a person of this world. When I take you away, I will only bring you to my world. There, I will give you a similar place, allowing you to grow without any disturbances." The Bamboo King asked, "Is your world very far from here?" "You can say that." Zichen said, "However, if you are willing to stay in this world, I can promise you that. However, I know very little about this world, so I naturally can't find an environment where you can grow without any disturbances." The Bamboo King fell silent. Zichen continued, "You don't have to worry about this, we can talk about this after we get out. Do you know that there are other opportunities in this place? I came here for that." Zichen naturally wouldn't forget the purpose of this trip. The Fang clan had made a fortune here, and there couldn't be only one Bamboo King here. "You want to enter the Soul Refining Land?" the Bamboo King asked. Zichen nodded, even though he had never heard of this place before. "Right, their goal should be the Soul Refining Land, but that place has already been sealed by me. Only by killing me can that place be opened." "Can it still be opened now?" "Yes, that place has always been guarded by me, and only I can open and close it." "Then I'll have to trouble you. I want to go in and take a look. Zichen clasped his fist and said. The Bamboo King didn't haggle with Zichen. A ray of light flew out from its body and shot into the sky. A passage appeared. As soon as this passage appeared, several rays of light shot into the sky and flew inside. Zichen saw them clearly. They were Fang Wudao and the others. What's going on? Zichen doubtfully asked. When the soul refining land opens, everyone outside can see it and freely enter. However, they can't see this space, nor can they see us. Just as the Bamboo King's voice fell, several more rays of light appeared and flew into it. This time, it was Lan Jiu Meng and the others. After waiting for Zichen for so long and unable to open the entrance to this world, they suddenly saw the soul refining land. They were very worried about Zichen, so they entered without hesitation. Seeing Lan Jiu Meng and the others enter, Zichen was a little anxious, worried that they would be in danger. Follow me, I'll bring you in. A ray of light flew out from the Bamboo King's body. This ray of light wrapped around Zichen and brought him into the sky. Zichen entered the soul refining land. This place was like an underground cave, and the surroundings were emitting blazing heat. Just as Zichen was looking around, he suddenly found a ray of light beside him. It was a soul light with consciousness, and it had the aura of the Bamboo King from before. The other party turned into a little green spirit and followed beside Zichen. Zichen glanced at the spirit with a doubtful look in his eyes. If I don't follow you, what if you secretly leave? The little spirit said, but its voice had become childish, clearly different from before. Zichen looked at the little spirit with a strange gaze. With the other party's uniqueness, countless big powers would fight for it in the outside world. But now, it was actually worried that he wouldn't bring it away. What kind of logic was this? The little spirit noticed Zichen's strange gaze and said, Don't worry, I won't let you bring me away for free. There are some things here that require bloodlines to open. I can't give them to you, but there are some that I can give. I'll give you the good things here, and you bring me away. Chapter 39-23. Zichen had never thought that there would be such a wonderful thing in this world. It was already a great fortune to be able to obtain the little fairy. Now, the other party even took the initiative to offer him a treasure with even greater sincerity. Zichen said, Then what are you waiting for? Lead the way. The little fairy flew forward. Zichen followed behind. After a dozen steps, he suddenly reacted, No, I have to go see my friends first. They might be in danger. Don't worry, they won't be in danger, the little fairy said with certainty. How do you know? Zichen asked doubtfully. The little fairy said, There is a special existence among you. His bloodline is very strange. As long as you enter this place, you will naturally be protected by the ancestors. With him, your friends will not die. This person should be Fang Wulian. After all, he was the only one from the Fang family. Moreover, Fang Wulian's bloodline power was extremely extraordinary. It was just that it was scattered by Fang Wudao. Didn't you lose control of this world? How do you know this kind of thing? Zichen asked again. He was still worried. The little fairy continued to fly forward. Before coming here, I was able to regain control of this world. It was previously sealed, but now it could regain control. Zichen's mind worked quickly. He soon guessed the reason and said, You left behind a part of your soul power? The little fairy looked back at Zichen. It seemed to be very surprised that Zichen could guess its current state. You left behind your original body, right? And that original body should not be able to grow anymore, right? Zichen asked again. The little fairy nodded. It did not hide anything from Zichen, so after leaving, you need to help me grow because I am very weak now. How can I help you? Zichen asked. The little fairy continued, devouring power. Any kind of power will do. I can even devour the power in the blue crystal coins. Zichen's expression changed. If it could even devour blue crystal coins, it seemed to be very weak. It was equivalent to starting over. Right now, it was no longer the ruler of a world. Instead, it was a seed that had nothing and needed to be irrigated to grow. The little elf suddenly grinned and said, I know you will be willing, even if I have to eat a part of your blue crystal coins. You can read my mind, can't you? You know what I'm thinking, right? Chen stared into the little elf's eyes. Through my inner thoughts, you know that you are very important, and it is absolutely impossible for me to leave without you, right? The little fairy said, not all of it. I can only see a little bit, and it doesn't work when it fails. Of course, Chen did not believe the other party's nonsense. He thought that he had encountered a great opportunity, but he did not expect that the other party had already seen everything. Since you know how important you are, why do you still want to follow me? You should know that as long as you go out by yourself, there will be many people fighting for you. They will also give you the best resources so that you can grow at the fastest speed. This is my secret. There is no need to tell you. The little fairy turned around. In fact, what it said was not wrong. It was not easy to see what Chen was thinking. Moreover, it really didn't work when it failed. At the same time, it consumed a lot of its own energy, and it may even threaten its life. Because there was always a kind of hazy power on Chen's body that prevented it from peaking. Only when Chen's state of mind fluctuated could it see a thing or two. But in addition to this talent, it can also see through people's hearts. Chen has a temperament that others do not have, which is the important reason why it chose Chen. Under the guidance of the little fairy, Chen seemed to be in another space. They did not encounter a single person along the way, nor did they encounter any danger. It was just that the surrounding temperature was getting higher and higher. Where are you taking me? Seeing that the little fairy was silent and just kept moving forward, Chen broke the silence. To the deepest part. I guess that thing should be taking shape soon. The little fairy said without looking back. What thing? Chen sped up, side by side with the little fairy, and asked curiously. A spirit robe that has been refined 3 times. The little fairy said while flying. Back then, the ancestor of the Fang family had gone through the first human refinement. After the spirit robe took shape, it was placed in the earth fire for the earth refinement. After the success, it was the heavenly refinement. It should have succeeded by now. How long has it been refined? Chen asked again. I can't remember clearly. It should be 9 generations. The little fairy said. What does 9 generations mean? 9 generations of patriarchs. Since the patriarchs have changed 9 generations, why didn't anyone take it out? Because they can't go in, and they don't know about the existence of this spirit robe. I don't want to tell them. These generations of patriarchs only know how to take and even took away my share. They have long forgotten the original promise and didn't give me any room to grow. Why should I tell them? It seems that this little guy also has a temper and character. It has been keeping this secret all this time. Since it's a secret, why tell me? It's not to tell you, but to give it to you. Anyway, I'm going to leave. Instead of leaving it here, it's better to give it to you. This way, you will take my greeting gift and will work hard to help me in the future. Chen was a little speechless, but it seemed to make some sense. The surrounding temperature became even hotter. Even with Chen's physical body, he couldn't hold on any longer. How much longer do we have to walk? Soon, it's just ahead. The little fairy repeated the same words 3 times. Chen didn't know how the little fairy calculated the distance, so he could only use the holy talisman again and again to recover his strength. The strength he recovered was consumed again and again as he moved forward. In short, Chen had a very difficult journey. It was no less than a bitter battle. At this moment, Chen also understood why no one else came. Because even if someone wanted to come, they had to have the strength. If one's physical body wasn't strong enough, they wouldn't be able to continue. After the little fairy said 3 more times, Chen finally arrived. He saw a huge pit, like an abyss, and he couldn't see the bottom at a glance. The little fairy flew above the abyss and said, this was originally an underground fire vein. A fire dragon's true spirit was born in it. During this period, the fire vein was constantly refining the spirit robe. The fire dragon's true spirit was also constantly consumed. In the end, it collapsed and the fire vein disappeared. Only then did the earth refinement complete. Chen was shocked when he heard this. Refining a spirit robe actually consumed an underground fire vein and a fire dragon's true spirit. Wasn't this too wasteful? Where's the spirit robe? Zichen asked. This place was empty. It's over there. A beam of light flew out from the little fairy's body and landed above the dried-up fire vein. It was as if a space had been opened. Amidst the ripples, Zichen saw a ball of heavenly fire falling from the sky like a burning meteorite. The surrounding temperature suddenly rose. Zichen felt as if his body was about to collapse. Below the flame, a spirit bamboo took root in the void, emitting a green light and swaying gently. Chapter 39-24. Under Zichen's gaze, the powerful and terrifying heavenly fire landed on the spirit bamboo. The faint green light on the spirit bamboo turned into a glaring flame. The surrounding temperature rose again. Even Zichen's body felt like it could collapse at any time. However, the green bamboo that took root in the void was intact. Soon, a green light bloomed and absorbed the heavenly fire. After the flame disappeared, the green light on its body seemed to be brighter. Is this the spirit robe? Zichen asked doubtfully. No matter how he looked at it, it was just a bamboo. It had nothing to do with the spirit robe. The fairy's expression suddenly became serious. It was not as optimistic as before. We're late. It seems to have given birth to its own intelligence. This is troublesome. Isn't that a good thing? Zichen asked. Originally, with my authority, I could take it away directly. But now that it has its own intelligence and will, I can't do anything about it. It was like a dead object. Originally, it could be taken away at will. Suddenly, it had its own consciousness and emotions. Naturally, it would have its own thoughts and would not be manipulated by others. The fairy looked back at Zichen. You can try. Whether you can take it away or not depends on your luck. Zichen looked at the spirit bamboo in front of him. His expression also became serious. In this place, his body could collapse at any time. It was not easy to get the other party's approval. Moreover, there should only be one chance. As for recovering here and reaching his peak, it was impossible. Because every moment he stayed here, the consumption would increase. The speed of recovery was far from keeping up with the consumption. If he stayed any longer, his body would collapse before he could get the spirit robe. Moreover, he did not know when the heavenly fire would appear. Even if Zichen was at his peak, he dared not say that he could block the heavenly fire. The fairy looked at Zichen helplessly. Originally, it wanted to give him a greeting gift. Who knew that it would turn out like this? It's very dangerous to take the spirit robe. You must do it before the heavenly fire arrives. Otherwise, with your current body, you will die here. As soon as the fairy's voice fell, Zichen leaped into the air. He didn't hesitate too much because time simply didn't allow for it. It was as if he had come from one space to another. The burning sensation from before had disappeared, and Zichen felt that his surroundings were incomparably cool. Nothing out of the ordinary happened as he arrived in front of the spirit bamboo and reached out to grab it. Just as he was about to bring the spirit bamboo back, he realized that the spirit bamboo seemed to be frozen in time and space. It did not move at all. He tried again, but there was still no reaction. Why are you still in a daze? Hurry up. The little elf reminded Zichen. Zichen was in a dilemma. It was as if this thing had grown here. Based on his current state, there was no way he could take it away. At this moment, a blazing aura appeared, and a heavenly fire descended from the sky. Come back quickly. The little sprite screamed. It had finally found Zichen and was counting on the other party to take it away. It didn't want Zichen to die here. Zichen didn't move. Although he couldn't take the spirit robe away, he could still escape. However, he didn't let go. Instead, he continued to exert force. Are you stupid? Come back quickly. Looking at the heavenly fire that was getting closer and closer below, the little sprite shouted nervously. There's only one chance. I can't miss it. Zichen said loudly. Then you'll die. The little sprite said. Even if I die, I'll take it away. Zichen's attitude was very firm, and his words were sonorous. And I feel that it'll be very dangerous if it stays here. At this moment, The little sprite was actually a little moved. Zichen's behavior was as if he wouldn't abandon a friend even in the face of death. Although it was moved, it certainly couldn't watch Zichen die. It planned to persuade him again, but it was already too late. The speed of the heavenly fire was beyond its imagination. Zichen was instantly engulfed by the heavenly fire. In the little sprite's eyes, Zichen's body burned the moment it came in contact with the heavenly fire. The two were not on the same level at all. In the blink of an eye, Zichen's body turned into nothingness. No! The little sprite shouted in despair. Its heart was filled with regret. If it had known this would happen, it wouldn't have brought Zichen here. It had finally found a suitable candidate, but it didn't expect him to die just like that. Unexpectedly, at this moment, a burst of green light suddenly erupted in front of them. The green light instantly engulfed the heavenly fire. Within the green light, Zichen stood there wearing a spiritual robe. On the spiritual robe, there was a green bamboo embroidered on it. The heavenly fire was dissipating, and the light of the bamboo also dimmed. Seeing this, the little sprite smiled again. "You didn't die. It was just a fluke." Zichen smiled. His body flashed, and he left the space and came to the little sprite's side. He wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and thought to himself, that was a close call. This time, when the heavenly fire appeared, he didn't dodge or leave. It was completely a gamble because there weren't many people in the human soul realm who could come this far, and none of them could block the heavenly fire. When the heavenly fire appeared, the thought of taking a gamble flashed through Zichen's mind. It seemed that he had made the right bet. He was able to gain the recognition of the spiritual robe by putting his life on the line. Wearing the spiritual robe, Zichen felt a consciousness coming from it. The smile on his face froze bit by bit. "What's wrong?" The little sprite flew to Zichen's side and looked at him carefully. A blue crystal coin appeared in Zichen's hand. The little sprite in front of him immediately disappeared, and the blue crystal coin in Zichen's hand disappeared. "Is this a reward for me? It's too little." The little sprite patted its belly and said with dissatisfaction. Zichen didn't say anything. Instead, he took out another blue crystal coin. This time, he reacted quickly and threw it at his body. The spiritual robe on his body rippled, and the blue crystal coin disappeared. When the little sprite saw this, she was slightly taken aback. Then, she asked carefully, "Is it also a foodie?" It said that it was very weak after resisting the heavenly fire for too long. It needs some time to grow and recover. Fortunately, we came early. If we came later, it wouldn't have been able to withstand it. Zichen said truthfully. He didn't hide anything. The little sprite looked at the spiritual robe on Zichen's body, and her eyes gradually turned unfriendly. After all, Zichen already had a foodie by his side. If another one came, wouldn't Zichen's resources be divided into two? Wouldn't that lead to a fight? The little sprite rolled her eyes and said, "It seems that it doesn't suit you. Throw it away. I'll help you find another spiritual robe." A light lit up on Zichen's spiritual robe. It was unknown if the consciousness in it was protesting. Of course, Zichen knew what the other party was planning, but he didn't point it out. Instead, he said with a smile, "We'll talk about this later. Take me to the others first. I'm worried about them." With the spiritual robe on his body, the blazing environment here could no longer affect Zichen. Just this point alone showed that the spiritual robe was extraordinary.